Chapter 521, Bystander A and Bystander B. They are both in this book. Zhang Li flips through, The Overbearing Mahayana Realm Loves Me, with a twitch in the corner of his eye. The biggest difference between this book and those on the market is that this book is handwritten. Manuscript of the Transcendence Tribulation Stage. My master had invited Pure Heart over to study the combination of drawing methods and, the word is the law, but for some reason, they both were sucked into the book. No matter how I call to my master, there's no response. The Rui calabash sobbingly shared its sorrow, rolling about on Yu Yin's bed. My suggestion is simply to burn the book. Then both of them will come out. Bai Hongtu proposed constructively. So why did you call this grandson over? Zhang Li glanced at Bai Hongtu, who had a good suggestion. The human emperor has the greatest power, sect master Bai knows the most, I think you two can save the master. Oddly, Zhang Li felt the Rui calabash had made sense and weakly defended, actually, I know quite a few things too. Bai Hongtu asked, such as, overcoming all methods with one power, subduing 10 meetings with one power. Zhang Li, swelled with anger, threw Bai Hongtu into the book. Go in then, wait for our good news. Zhang Li left this sentence and also dove into the book. The Overbearing Mahayana Realm Loves Me, author unknown, has released 2 parts that are popular among female readers. The male lead is Yu, Zhang He, a Mahayana realm true cultivator, and the female lead is Pure Water. The story is about female lead Pure Water, who is an unattractive but virtuous and kind-hearted small cultivator, well-educated, and a prodigy of the great Zhou Dynasty Academy. Tai Shangguan is the biggest sect in the land, and the fewest disciples are the elites of God transformation stage cultivators. Zhang He is the sect master of Tai Shangguan, a Mahayana realm true cultivator. The cultivation technique he cultivates is the Tai Shang Oblivion, which emphasizes falling in love before forgetting the emotions, and finally becoming a prime chaos immortal. Zhang He is entirely devoted to seeking the Tao, pursuing the unreachable prime chaos immortal. In order to seek the Tao, he wants to fall in love with one person, forget the affection, and finally merge with the Tao, to become the prime chaos position, the first person under the heavenly Tao. The second female led is Zhang He's childhood friend, named Yin, known as the first female cultivator in all states, a Transcendence Tribulation Stage cultivator, and the deputy sect master of Tai Shangguan. She also likes Zhang He. Hearing that Zhang He is looking for love, she actively recommends herself. Yet, Zhang He did not choose Yin, but instead chose the innocent Pure Water. The second female lead, Yin, plays dirty tricks and torment Pure Water. The male and female leads separate and reunite through this process, confirming their feelings in the end. Zhang He also abandons cultivating the Tai Shang Oblivion, and instead spends his life accompanying the female lead Pure Water. Let me read you some of Zhang He's famous quotes. Zhang He's eyes carry 3 parts of scorn, 3 parts of coolness, and 4 parts of nonchalance. Woman, you're playing with fire. Don't move, or I can't guarantee what will happen. Damn it, seeing this woman like this, I actually feel heartache. You started this fire, you put it out. There's also what the elder of Tai Shangguan says, haven't seen the sect master smile for a long time. Bai Hongtu laughs as he reads, sounding like an old duck. In order to avoid any suspicion, they didn't use your real name directly and instead changed it to Zhang He. Ha ha ha. Why have I never seen such a fun book before? When I go back I must buy more of this type of book. Bai Hongtu feels like he's found a new source of joy. It feels good to use the spirit plant array to advance to heavenly immortal. Zhang Li felt like he had found a new punching bag. Bai Hongtu's laughter abruptly stopped. Zhang Li said, the background of this world has no heavenly demons, so there is no imperial palace, only Tai Shangguan. Our identities now should be pedestrian A and pedestrian B, new disciples recruited by Tai Shangguan, who entered Tai Shangguan at the same time as the female lead, Pure Water. Zhang Li looked in a mirror and found he, as pedestrian A, was shockingly handsome, even more than his real self. Bai Hongtu's handsomeness was as usual. In this world, anyone with a name is handsome. If the name appears frequently, then they're extremely handsome. As for the male lead, Zhang He, he's indescribably handsome and earth-shaking. Read more books, and don't misuse idioms. 2 pedestrians with no presence whisper in a corner of Tai Shangguan. According to the script, the male lead already has feelings for the female lead. The male lead allowed the female lead to enter Tai Shangguan, but the female lead didn't want to rely on others. Later, the female lead was chased down and had no choice but to hide amongst the disciples Tai Shangguan was recruiting, becoming a Tai Shangguan disciple. The second female lead, Yin, lives as deputy sect master, and makes things difficult for the female lead. The female lead confronts Yin using her own knowledge. As the two of them spoke, Yin began to lecture on the stage. In recent years, the standards for Tai Shangguan's recruitment of disciples have been lowered, resulting in uneven levels of newly recruited disciples. Don't think you can sit back and relax because you've entered Tai Shangguan. The road of cultivation is long and far. You have just set foot on the road of cultivation and there is still a long distance to go in future. Be complacent now, and you will be caught up with by the people behind you. Come, let me test your basics. The Dao skills have been tested during the entrance examination. Now, we will test your body cultivation. Perform the horse stance, hold it for about an hour. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu honestly performed the horse stance. This is the basic skill of body cultivation, establishing a strong foundation. Most disciples quickly lost balance and couldn't stand straight. You can't even master the basics of body cultivation, dare you claim to be Tai Shangguan's disciples. Starting from now, you will have one more daily task, the horse stance, for 2 hours every day. Upon hearing this, all the disciples dare to be angry but dare not speak. Only the female lead, Pure Water, stood out. Deputy Sect Master, please reconsider your decision. Tai Shangguan is famous for its Dao techniques all over the world. I've never heard of any body cultivator coming from Tai Shangguan. Yin sneered, Dao techniques. If a body cultivator gets close to you, you will have no chance to resist. How would you fight? We can defeat body cultivators using Dao techniques before they get close to us. Pure Water said, her tone filled with faint self-confidence. Yin said, don't say I'm bullying you, I'll suppress my realm to the same level as yours. If you can beat me, then all the disciples don't need to do the horse stance. If you can't, you will need to do the horse stance for 4 hours every day. Pure Water accepted. Bai Hongtu whispered, according to the script, Pure Water will defeat Yin with exquisite Dao techniques, winning the cheers of new disciples, becoming the backbone of the new disciples, and Yin will bear a grudge against Pure Water. Who would have known that Yin does not follow the script at all? Combining body and Dao cultivation, even if Pure Water's Dao techniques are exquisite and she's considered the best among new disciples, she still couldn't beat Yin and eventually lost. Yin, a Transcendence Tribulation stage cultivator, saw Pure Water's exquisite Dao techniques as nothing but a joke. The book saying Yin would lose doesn't align with reality. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu both saw it. Yin was possessing Yin, the traces of her soul were clear. But Pure Water is simply a character in the book. It is uncertain who Pure Heart attached to. Pure Water, what's wrong? Sect Master Zhang He appeared. Zhang Li held his forehead. Pure Heart had possessed Zhang He. Chapter 522. Master, we agreed that I would be the one to teach the new disciples, you have to keep your hands off. Yin furrowed her brows. Me keep my hands off? Look at what you've done to the person. Zhang He picked up Pure Water, heartbroken. Bai Hongtu provided commentary. Seeing Yin frown, she had never seen Zhang He show this much concern for her, which made her feel a bit sour. Zhang Li knocked Bai Hongtu on the head. Yin did indeed frown, but not because Zhang He didn't care about her. Master, how could a path to immortality not involve injuries? Your excessive concern for her, what will happen when it's time for her to fight? The Pure Heart Saint, who possessed Zhang He, sent a voice message to Yin. Sister Yin, we agreed to follow the original plot, but this isn't going accordingly. You're supposed to be jealous at this point. Why should I be jealous? The original plot is unrealistic, my approach fits logic better. We need to act according to the original plot. We need to act realistically. It was clear that the two had a significant disagreement. Zhang He, unable to persuade Yin, had to let Yin continue instructing the new disciples, including Pure Water. Do you realize where you went wrong just now? Yin condescendingly asked Pure Water. Pure Water replied, feeling wronged, I made the mistake of neglecting body cultivation. Wrong, you shouldn't have fought against me in the first place. You think that because I've lowered myself to your realm, you could win. Even if you focus more on cultivating your body and magic, you couldn't beat me on the same level. Don't think that because you are a top student at the Great Zhou Academy and have learned theoretically, you can do as you please, you need more practice. Yin threw over a bottle of medicine and said coldly, this is a healing potion. Treat your wounds tomorrow, and starting the day after, you should practice the horse stance daily for 4 hours. I will teach you personally. Yin saw that Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu were the most stable at practicing the horse stance and added, these two are the chief and vice chief among the new disciples. You should take them as role models. As the chief disciple, Zhongli said, "You should call me Senior Brother 1, and call him Senior Brother 2. Everyone cheered for Bai Hongtu as Senior Brother 2 feet. Bai Hongtu had a feeling that Zhongli had an ulterior motive for having others call him Senior Brother 2 feet. Strengthening your body isn't to transform you into a body cultivator. It's so that when you confront a body cultivator in close combat, you have a chance to create some space. I've seen too many cases where those proficient in Dao techniques but physically weak quickly lose to body cultivators in close combat. I don't want you to follow their footsteps." Even in this world of the book, Yu Yin was still teaching her disciples conscientiously. Yes, all the new disciples answered in chorus. Zhongli and Bai Hongtu were particularly loud. When others finished practicing their horse stance for 2 hours during their free time, Pure Water was still practicing. She had to practice 1 more hour than the others. Upon completion, her ankles were swollen. Pure Water wanted to rest that entire afternoon. "Don't worry, this afternoon's magic class won't require your feet," said Yu Yin coldly. Yu Yin then asked, "Do you feel that I'm too strict with you?" Pure Water nodded, somewhat scared. "I'm strict with you because I hope that you can become independent. Don't feel that you're weak and incapable of great things, and that you have to rely on men for everything. As a female cultivator, you should realize that you are no less than a male cultivator." Pure Water meekly asked, "But Assistant Master, you can't win against Master Zhongli either." A hint of a smile curled up at the corner of Yu Yin's mouth. "Who said I can't win? The current master is the weakest Mahayana I've ever seen. I'm staying in this world, practicing diligently, looking for a chance to break through and defeat Zhongli. After the Transcendence Tribulation stage in this world, one proceeds to the Mahayana stage, and then to the Universal Primordial stage. Earth Immortal, Heavenly Immortal, and Golden Immortal are not stages to proceed to here. Normal cultivation practice can lead to advancement." Yu Yin was hopeful of breaking through the Mahayana realm in this world within the books and defeating Zhongli. Pure Water gazed at Yu Yin, full of admiration and hopeful that she, too, could become a powerful female cultivator like Yu Yin. In the days that followed, the Pure Heart Saintess did her best to play Zhongyi's role, following the script, while Yu Yin insisted on keeping things realistic, refusing to act according to the plot. When Zhongli tried to kiss Pure Water forcefully, according to the plot, Pure Water would struggle at first, then relax and lose herself in the moment. However, Yu Yin quietly reminded her from the side that this behavior was sexual harassment. After that, Zhongli couldn't bring himself to kiss Pure Water again. When Pure Water was shopping, according to the plot, Zhongli would arrogantly say, "Here are 5 million top-grade spirit stones. I want you to spend them all." But Yu Yin would say that Zhongli, as the master, was treating the spirit stones of the Supreme Temple as his own. Then, Zhongli found that he simply couldn't bring out any spirit stone. According to the plot, when Pure Water gets bullied outside, Zhongli would angrily confront the offending sect, using his Mahayana power to overshadow the entire sect, forcing everyone from the Supreme Elder down to the disciples to apologize to Pure Water. However, after Yu Yin's training, Pure Water's combat power had risen sharply and there was no chance for the other sect to bully her. The Pure Heart Saintess wanted to say the famous line, "In the future, only I have the right to bully you," according to the script, but she waited for a long time without receiving any news of Pure Water being bullied. Zhongli was poisoned by a love potion, and according to the script, he would become lustful and go to Pure Water for an antidote. However, Yu Yin gave the antidote to Zhongli, telling him not to commit rape and interrupt Pure Water's cultivation. And where in JoJo can you find a poison that can poison a person at the Mahayana realm? Bai Hongtu completely gave up his role as a narrator. This was completely different from the original story. The Pure Heart Saintess almost cried. Sister Yu Yin insisted on rationalizing her novel. The plot simply could not proceed. Her book had quite a fan base in Red Dust Pure Land. How could it be full of plot holes here with Sister Yu Yin? Days passed by, and Pure Water was cultivating diligently. But she felt that her diligence was not enough. When she was cultivating, Yu Yin was cultivating, and when she was resting, Yu Yin was still cultivating. "You are Pure Water." The aloof Supreme Elder came to Pure Water, who was in the middle of her training. "The Master actually wants to take you as his cultivation object." "How ridiculous. You have low cultivation and average looks. What about you makes you worthy of the Master? Using you to practice the supreme forgetful love would tarnish the Master's reputation. Take these 1 million top-grade spirit stones and leave the Supreme Temple." The Supreme Elder chucked a storage ring at Pure Water. "I'm not leaving." Pure Water refused decisively. "You dare to refuse me?" The Supreme Elder erupted in fury with energy fluttering around him. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu stealthily watched the scene unfold. I don't even like Zhang He. Why are you giving me money? Pure Water was confused, her mind fully occupied with cultivation, and had no interest in romance. And these spirit stones should be the supreme temples, right? It doesn't seem right for you to use them for your private matters. I won't tell the vice master about this. You just take them back. It's not even your money. Don't use the supreme temple's spirit stones to show off your wealth in the future. Pure Water kindly reminded him. The supreme elder was left in a stupor. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu struggled to hold back their laughter from the sidelines. Chapter 523. The methods described in the original don't seem so sinister. The world in this book is quite intriguing, it makes me want to give it a try. Bai Hongtu felt a sudden urge to become an author and write a book. Bai Hongtu reckoned that he would need Do Yuyan's help in this endeavor. To enter the world within the book required Yuyan to personally write the novel. What do you plan on writing? Zhang Li didn't think that his grandson could produce a great book. Those years when I was the human emperor. A novel full of fantastical elements, not bad. Zhang Li was surprised that Bai Hongtu could write such a book, completely unrelated to reality. If only I were not weaker than you. As the two were casually chatting, Yuyan barged in, completely disregarding the Supreme Elder, and pulled Pure Water away. I wondered why you weren't practicing, turns out you were slacking off here. Come, follow me back. Pure Water jogged along, matching the pace of Yuyan. The Supreme Elder was furious, but dared not speak. Although he and Yuyan were on the same Transcendence Tribulation stage, Yuyan's combat strength far surpassed his, a veteran of the Tribulation stage. To highlight the heroine's hardships, Pure Heart made Yin the leading female cultivator and the second most powerful in the 9 provinces. The next plot focuses on the grand competition of the 9 provinces. Pure Water, as the most promising new generation disciple of the Supreme View sect, shows outstanding performance in the competition, becoming more powerful with each battle. However, being naive, Pure Water couldn't handle underhanded tactics, despite her high combat strength, and fell victim to the schemes of other sect disciples. Zhang He, furious, invoked the methods of the Mahayana realm to seek justice for Pure Water, and even proposed accepting her as a direct disciple. An angry Mahayana cultivator makes for an earth-shattering event. From then on, Pure Water's fame spread throughout the 9 provinces. Royal children, direct disciples, and the like from various major sects began to develop feelings for Pure Water. Although she was infatuated with Zhang He and showed no interest in her peers. Bai Hongtu was engrossed in the plot. Zhang Li nodded. Teacher-student love affairs do seem quite appealing to a portion of female cultivators in the 9 provinces. While wandering the void, bored, he had read, "The overbearing Mahayana realm fell in love with me. It's about time, let's go participate in the grand competition of the 9 provinces." As the senior and second disciples, who were new members themselves, they naturally had to participate in the competition. In the book, for the insignificant characters Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu, there was only one sentence: the new disciples of the Supreme View sect were utterly defeated, leaving all hope on the delicate shoulders of Pure Water. We may as well respect the original work. As such, I will only use 1/10 of my power to compete, Bai Hongtu sincerely stated. Being at the nascent soul stage in the novel, he wouldn't become champion of the 9 provinces competition with only 1/10 of his power. Zhang Li also earnestly nodded. Then, I won't use my full strength either. The grand competition of the 9 provinces started promptly. Due to the original author's lack of description of the magic battles, they seemed unremarkable and uninspired. Why are you looking so down? On the Supreme View sect's viewing stand, Yuyan noticed a lack of energy in Pure Heart. I feel no sense of participation, Sister Yuyan. As the author, I can't believe I have no involvement in my own book. The despondent Pure Heart was close to tears. Usually, authors who enter their own novels become central figures. However, she, the unfortunate soul, was bullied at every turn. Pure Heart's host body, Zhang He, was in perfect accordance with the original description, an extremely handsome male cultivator. His every move exuded a unique charm. Many female cultivators fell for Zhang He at first sight, but felt that they were not good enough for him. Zhang He and Yin were deemed a match made in heaven by countless female cultivators. I can already predict that it is not going to follow the original plot. With Pure Water trained by you to be an invincible nascent soul stage cultivator, no sinister tactics can harm her. Where is my chance to appear? You're the one who portrayed Pure Water as a simple and naive girl, without any awareness of devious tactics. If I didn't do that, how would Zhang He have a chance to appear? Aren't all male protagonists supposed to appear in the most critical moments to rescue the female lead? That seems to make sense. Yu Yin gave Pure Heart an idea, you can make the plot more complex by saying the female lead. Yu Yin comforted Pure Heart a few times, but couldn't hide her pride in her excellent disciple. Chrysanthemum Needle. A disciple from the Five Poison sect used a hidden weapon. The chrysanthemum needle was a type of concealed weapon hidden in the sleeve. It could catch the enemy off guard, shooting out numerous needles as fine as hairs, capable of breaching the protective energy field. The disciple from the Five Poison sect thought he was on the verge of victory, but to his shock, the hidden weapon had disappeared. Pure Water took out the stolen chrysanthemum needle and pointed it at the Five Poison sect disciple. With a springing sound, the fine needles peppered the Five Poison sect disciple, making him look like a porcupine. Trained by Yu Yin, Pure Water knew immediately that the Five Poison sect disciple had a hidden weapon in his sleeve. She took the opportunity during their close-ranged combat to steal it. It's settled then, Yu Yin said indifferently. In the original work, Pure Water was harmed by a disciple of the Five Poison sect. Now that the Five Poison sect posed no threat, Pure Water was the inevitable victor. There are two more from our Supreme View sect still in the battle, and in the next round, they're going to face Pure Water. Pure Heart drew attention to the extras, Zhongli and Bai Hongtu. Bai Hongtu stood on the stage, regarding Pure Water as a formidable enemy. With only a tenth of his power, he was afraid he might not be able to defeat Pure Water. Second senior brother, Pure Water respectfully saluted. Junior sister, do not hold back. Regardless of who wins, the victory will belong to the Supreme View sect. Bai Hongtu addressed her earnestly. Okay, Pure Water was moved, finding Bai Hongtu to be a person who took the honor of the sect to heart. Before Pure Water finished speaking, Bai Hongtu swiftly attacked, his hand becoming like a sword as he stabbed at her. Not anticipating this, Pure Water was startled, and barely managed to avoid the attack with a backward sway. Good junior sister, the match has already started, how can you be so unfocused? Bai Hongtu said with a candid smile. Chrysanthemum Needle, Bai Hongtu shouted, flicking his wrist. Pure Water quickly went on the defensive, only to realize that what she faced was not a hidden weapon but Bai Hongtu's foot. Junior sister, how can you believe whatever your opponent says? Bai Hongtu asked with a smile, but his kick showed no sign of holding back. After being knocked down by Bai Hongtu, Pure Water rolled up and immediately fell into Bai Hongtu's second trap. Pure Water was beaten by Bai Hongtu to retreat in disarray. Pure Heart, on the viewing stage, was in deep thought. The most cunning person in the original work didn't use such despicable methods. Where did this second senior brother come from? Pure Heart turned her gaze to Yu Yin. Could it be that Sister Yu Yin altered the plot, causing the characters in the book to evolve and forcing Pure Water to lose in the grand competition of the 9 provinces? Sister Yu Yin's painting and inscription techniques were indeed magical. Yu Yin slightly frowned, she had a nagging feeling of familiarity with the second senior brother's tactics. Should I step in now to protect Pure Water? Pure Heart was deep in thought. This seemed like an internal struggle of the Supreme View sect and it wasn't quite appropriate for her to interfere. Zhongli was warming up off stage. Once Bai Hongtu won, it would be time for the final duel between him and Bai Hongtu for the championship of the 9 provinces grand competition. Chapter 524, Substitute Player. The fact is, Pure Water is not Yu Yin, she can't deal with Bai Hongtu's cunning manipulation, and lost quickly. Yu Yin found the way her second senior brother fought to be familiar. The JoJo Grand Tournament turned into an internal fight of the Grand View, the eldest and the second senior brothers standing opposite each other exchanging courteous words, while smirking. Eldest senior brother, please go easy on me. What are you talking about? Second junior brother, you should go easy on me. Bai Hongtu sprung a surprise attack, using a tenth of the force of a Transcendence Tribulation stage. With a sneaky grin on his face, he thought his scheme had succeeded. He had said he would use only a tenth of his strength, but he never mentioned that it would be a tenth of the nascent soul stage strength. How could Zhongli stand a chance? At the same time that Bai Hongtu made his move, Zhongli did too, using the strength of the Mahayana realm. At their first encounter, Bai Hongtu sensed something was off. Damn it, didn't we agree to hide our strength? Barked Bai Hongtu. I haven't even used all of my Mahayana realm's strength. Zhongli carelessly answered, subduing Bai Hongtu single-handedly and effortlessly ending the fight, dragging Bai Hongtu off like a dead dog. What should have been an intense battle ended quickly as both participants used strength far beyond that given in the original text. To the outsiders, it appeared that Zhongli had simply subdued Bai Hongtu. They could not see that Bai Hongtu had used the power of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, nor that Zhongli had used that of the Mahayana realm. Yu Yin was speechless, she recognized the way Zhongli dragged Bai Hongtu off. It was too familiar. It must be these two no-gooders who have also landed in this book world. After some time, Yu Yin sat on the mountaintop, cultivating her spirit with her 5 yuan pointing to the sky, her eyes closed. Uniting the body with the Tao, sensing the heavenly and human energies. This is the path to the Mahayana realm designed by pure heart. I have comprehended it. Yu Yin stood up, triggering a heavenly tribulation. In the clouds, a person was creating a downpour, releasing the heavenly tribulation bolt towards Yu Yin. The heavenly tribulation transformed into white map. In the plot designed by Saintess Pure Heart, the heavenly tribulation taking the form of white map would strike the heroine Pure Water. Zhonghe would step in and protect Pure Water from the heavenly tribulation, beating up white map in the process. Now, Pure Water was yet to cross the tribulation, but instead, Yu Yin took the initiative and attracted the heavenly tribulation. Yu Yin stepped in, using 90% emotions and 10% skill to beat white map, successfully passing the heavenly tribulation and entering the Mahayana realm. Sister Pure Heart, it's hard to describe what you've designed for the Mahayana realm. Yu Yin was both amused and resigned. Right after stepping into the Mahayana realm, I don't feel the room for improvement anymore. She pondered if, in the setup designed by Saintess Pure Heart, Zhonghe was the only one in the Mahayana realm, hence there was no process established for practicing in the Mahayana realm. Therefore, whoever reached the Mahayana realm would have the same strength as Zhonghe. Vice Sect Master, you've reached the Mahayana realm. Pure Water looked at Yu Yin in awe. Yu Yin touched Pure Water's head, somewhat wistful. It's been a long haul, it's time to put it to rest. I challenge you, Zhonghe. Again, Yu Yin showed her dominating aura as Empress of Tian Yuan. Saintess Pure Heart, in the midst of brainstorming her next novel, looked on bewildered. What happened? Let's have a fight. After that, we leave the book world. Okay, Saintess Pure Heart, despite not understanding the situation, agreed obediently. In his hands, Zhonghe held the formidable Sky Desolate halberd. As soon as he drew his weapon, the skies and earth seemed to tremble. Yu Yin's ankles each held a jade jewel. She kicked out and the jade jewels, suddenly growing large, fell off. Go! The 2 jade jewels flew rapidly at Zhonghe. Saintess Pure Heart was indeed a formidable fighter, but her weapon was the 12th-rank Green Lotus. Now, as she was forced to wield the Sky Desolate halberd, she was clumsy. Waving his halberd, Zhonghe tore a hole in space, summoning the force of the gang wind to trap the jade jewels. Yu Yin manipulated the jade jewels with 2 fingers, they moved nimbly under her control, the gang wind wasn't able to trap the jade jewels. The more Yu Yin fought, the more valiant she became. Engaged in close combat, Zhonghe soon fell into a disadvantage. In truth, Yu Yin wasn't an expert in close combat, but Saintess Pure Heart was even less proficient. The Saintess is going to lose. Bai Hongtu sat on the stairs, looking up at the battle. Saintess Pure Heart was not as good as Yu Yin, whether in terms of actual realm or combat talent, so it was normal for her to lose. Then we need to swap. Zhang Li rose to his feet and communicated via spiritual telepathy to Pure Heart Saintess. Pure Heart, let's swap bodies and I will fight for you. Saintess Pure Heart was surprised at first, but then she was overjoyed, and obediently swapped bodies to become the eldest senior brother. When Zhang Li took over Zhang He's body, Yu Yin quickly sensed the discrepancy. As I suspected, both you and Bai Hongtu are in the world of this book. Yu Yin wasn't really challenging Saintess Pure Heart, her actual aim was a battle with Zhang Li. Her wish was now granted. I wondered why you were picking on Pure Heart for no reason, you were waiting for me to step in. Zhang Li had an epiphany. How did you figure out Bai Hongtu and I are also here? I believe we've been keeping quite a low profile. Maybe next time you can find another way to beat Bai Hongtu. Okay, both of them at the same level, Zhang Li didn't have much of an advantage, nor did he want to use his full strength. Their fists collided, sounding like muffled thunder, less grandeur than the majesty of heaven, but more efficient. Their movements were swift as lightning, those below watched in awe, unable to keep up with Zhang Li and Yu Yin's actions. Long time no see, Saintess. Bai Hongtu said, snacking lazily on the steps. There were numerous descriptions of delicacies in the original book. The male lead often fed the female lead with delicacies, effectively strengthening their relationship. You're here too, Sect Master Bai. Saintess Pure Heart was a little surprised. No wonder she thought both elder and second senior brothers looked familiar, it was because they were actually them. This book world is quite fun to play in, so I decided to stay for a few more days. And what did you guys do? We noticed that the heads of the power factions were often embezzling the factions' funds for personal use. So, we suggested setting up a detailed account including all the money in and out to prevent this. We heard that the women in this world often ridicule pure water, especially the ladies from noble families, who downplayed pure water due to her commoner status. So, Zhongli and I taught them a lesson, how to respect others. Pure water is too naive, and thus we secretly trained her. Now she will not be caught in the dark. She even learned how to manipulate others. There's a male supporting role in the book who is totally smitten with pure water and is willing to give everything for her. He protects pure water all the time. We advised him to give up, being a simp doesn't pay off. Next comes the part where pure water meets her biological father and stepmother. They will demand spirit stones from her, telling her that her brother is weak-minded and cannot attend the great Zhou dynasty family academy. They will say they cannot afford to send her brother to school because they have been supporting her education generously. Now, her brother is getting married and needs money for the bride price. Pure water, blackmailed by kinship, would scrape together all the spirit stones she can for the exorbitant bride price. Considering this situation, we decided to let Pure Water's brother convert to Buddhism. Solving Pure Water's brother's marriage and work issues at one fell swoop. It's a win-win. Saintess Pure Heart had to reconsider whether there were any problems with her book in the plot. Why did 3 of the 4 people who entered the book begin drastically changing the plot? Chapter 524.1 Chapter 525. The halberd in Zhongli's hand had a completely different effect from when used by Pure Heart Saintess. Compared to Zhongli, the Pure Heart Saintess seemed as though she was wielding a fire poker. The halberd collided with the jade carving, shaking the air, producing sonic waves that radiated outward, causing a brief state of tinnitus in the inhabitants of half the world, who could hear nothing but the humming sound. Another jade carving appeared above Zhongli's head and came crashing down towards him. Zhongli tilted his head, rolled over and kicked, sending the jade carving flying. 2 more jade carvings detached from Yu Yin's wrist and attacked Zhongli. Zhongli was surrounded and had difficulty warding off the attacks. 3 heads and 6 arms, Zhongli displayed the great divine power, 3 heads and 6 arms, shooting up his combat power. Under the watch of 6 eyes, it was impossible for any attack to be a sneak attack. The 6 arms each held a different weapon, making the 4 jade carvings seem insufficient. Seeing the situation, Yu Yin lashed out with a kick, aiming for Zhongli's unprotected chest. Zhongli reacted in time, grabbed her foot, turned around on the spot, throwing Yu Yin into a spin. Yu Yin's dark hair grew rapidly, transforming into endless blades piercing towards Zhongli. Zhongli breathed out a breath of immortal flame, burning the hair off completely. Yu Yin cut off her hair, leaving it shoulder length. Stop! Yu Yin pointed a finger at Zhongli, leaving him frozen in place. It was a divine skill she had comprehended from her instant obedience to words. Unexpectedly, Zhongli then split into 3, one was detained, but the other 2 still moved. Cough. Bai Hongtu choked. Can he still be a human being, able to use the 3 heads and 6 arms and establishment of the 3 Pure Lands simultaneously? Unhappy with this, the Pure Heart Saintess decided to make Bai Hongtu the ultimate enemy in the next volume. Yu Yin was also surprised, she had never thought that these 2 divine skills could be used together. However, her rich battle experience told her that now was not the time to be shocked. Unconsciously, Yu Yin invoked Buddhist divine skill of thousand-hand Guanyin, the numerous hands shaping many mudras, bringing down a cataclysm. A movable Maha Mayuri, Zhongli softly recited, and a shining golden Buddha appeared behind him. The Buddha was seated in Jakra, with 6 arms and a compassionate expression, but the face was Zhongli's. The Buddha's 6 arms propped up the sky, forming a light curtain, blocking the 1,000 hands and mudras. Another Zhongli walked the 8 trigram steps, appearing and disappearing in space. Countless threads appeared in his hands, winding around Yu Yin's limbs and body, leaving her not in control of herself. Lubin Sect's puppet technique. Yu Yin immediately identified it, which was the secret Dao technique of Lubin Sect within the territory of Tianyuan Emperor Dynasty. Zhongli did not answer, but manipulated Yu Yin's body. Yu Yin spat out a breath of sword qi, cut off the threads and regained her freedom. Dragon Phoenix Harmony. Yu Yin drew a real dragon and phoenix, gave them eyes, and the dragon and phoenix leapt out of the painting, with the stance and power equivalent to those of mythical creatures. The real Zhongli had long managed to break free from the immobilization effect. The 3 bodies merged into one again, retracted the 3 heads and 6 arms, grabbed the dragon's horns and threw the real dragon onto the phoenix. Most of the techniques they used had not been mentioned in the original work, it was beyond the imagination of Pure Heart Saintess, the original author. Yu Yin displayed the painting Dao that had been hidden for a long time and fought against Zhang Li. In the end, Zhang Li narrowly won, shattered the jade carvings, blasted Yu Yin away and became the ultimate winner. Still didn't win you. Yu Yin flew back from the distance. You've improved a lot. After becoming the Empress your combat skills have not diminished, even stronger than when you were a candidate for the human emperor, Zhang Li said. However, I still didn't win, Yu Yin was chagrined. It is normal that you haven't won, after all, your opponent is me, Zhang Li comforted her, which only served to make her grind her teeth. Your world inside the novel is quite creative indeed. After changing the plot, the way the characters behave and their trajectory have also changed, said Zhang Li, referring to pure water. The immortal elder said that I have already touched the threshold of the way of creation. The characters in the book can perform according to the setting, but they still far from achieving the effect of producing a soul. The demeanor of the Grand Master. Bai Hongtu praised Yu Yin without stinginess. Sister Yu Yin is so powerful. Clearly, Bai Hongtu and the Pure Heart Saintess are more pleasant to talk to than Zhang Li. Before leaving the book world, Yu Yin gave some instructions to Pure Water, and Zhang Li and the others followed right behind her. The original characters, who lost the control of Yu Yin and others, would inherit their personality and continue to interpret within the book world. Master, Human Emperor, can you hear me? Don't tell me, even the Human Emperor has gone missing. The magic gourd regretfully rolled on the ground and finally nestled on Yu Yin's shoe. Immortal Elder, can the Master still be saved? Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu entered the book world and disappeared for 3 days. In desperation, the magic gourd had to invite the Immortal Elder out from his seclusion for help. I think the problem is not whether they can be saved or not, but that your way of contacting Yu Yin is simply wrong. The Immortal Elder watched the magic gourd wailing at the novel, calling for its master. He felt this gourd must be seriously ill. It would be strange if Yu Yin could hear it. The Immortal Elder wasn't in a hurry. This book was something he had never come across before. As he flipped through, the overbearing Mahayana fell in love with me, the words blurred. When they became clear again, they were significantly different from the original version. Ah Yin, Pure Water, the unnamed eldest disciple and the second disciple, all these characters' behavioral patterns were changing. There was no need to ask. It was clear that this was the result of Zhang Li and others entering the book world. The novel emitted a soft light, the light disappeared, and Zhang Li and others appeared. Looking at the messy bedroom, Yu Yin immediately deduced that it was caused by the magic gourd rolling about everywhere. She stepped on the magic gourd from above, putting a little pressure with the arch of her foot, causing the gourd to roll slightly. You've had a lot of freedom in these days when I was away. On seeing the ever-living immortal, the Pure Heart Saintess was very surprised. Elder Immortal, you can actually leave your cave residence. The ever-living immortal felt the Pure Heart Saintess was showing signs of being influenced by Zhang Li. If it weren't for the fact that she was the descendant of the Red Dust Immortal. I like to stay in my cave reading books, not that I can't leave my cave, descendant of the Red Dust Immortal. Talking about the Red Dust Immortal, Elder Immortal wanted to make a trip to the pure land of red dust. Seeing the Elder Immortal itching to fly to the pure land of red dust, Zhang Li hurriedly pushed him back into his seat. Elder Immortal, calm down. The Red Dust Immortal wouldn't like you. Elder Immortal cast a sidelong glance. He felt that Zhang Li's words have become more and more underworld-like since he returned from the underworld. Your visit to the underworld wasn't in vain. Oh, not at all. During my trip to the underworld, I met the 10 halls of Yama, and also a boundless immortal with the title Hutu Huangqi. Have you heard of them, Elder Immortal? No, you continue. Zhang Li recounted everything he witnessed in the underworld, and also mentioned that Dao Ancestor had reincarnated into Wuji. Right now, it's still too early to meet him. When my master separates himself from Wuji's soul, I will then go pay respects to him. The ever-living immortal suppressed his excitement. When Zhang Li mentioned casually about defeating the 10 halls of Yama, Bai Hongtu teased from the side. Grand Master, you once said that those at Mahayana stage can battle the heavenly immortals, but you were so wrong. The ever-living immortal calmly responded. What I meant to say was that someone at Mahayana stage can defeat Heaven Dao and immortals. In summary, that equates to heavenly immortals. Chapter 525, Historian. Bai Hongtu felt that the Grand Master lived up to his reputation even when it comes to bullshitting. He was outclassed by several measures. With that silver tongue of yours, I'm considering making you my master, Bai Hongtu said sincerely. The immortal elder glanced at Bai Hongtu, his gaze instantly seeing through Bai Hongtu's ulterior motives, trying to move up the ranks, While Zhang Li was narrating his explorations in the underworld, Bai Hongtu was providing live commentary. Upon hearing Zhang Li's description of the beautiful sights in the underworld, everyone couldn't help but yearn for it. As expected, both Yu Yin and the immortal elder beat Bai Hongtu up, only the saintly pure heart spared him a beating, she merely gave him a kick. Yearning, huh, I'll show you yearning, said the elder, not showing any mercy while beating his disciple. You guys continue to beat me and talk at the same time, no need to halt either, Zhang Li, who was accustomed to such situations, said. Back when everyone was at the golden core or nascent soul stage, Bai Hongtu was often beaten by the immortal elder for his cheeky remarks. After getting beaten, Bai Hongtu would always boast to Zhang Li, claiming he exchanged dozens of rounds with an immortal and neither was able to prevail over the other. Pure Heart was the most shocked of them all. This was her first time learning the truth about the creatures from the outer realm, about what really happened 9,000 years ago, and about how the Mahayana realm was just a fiction. Pure Heart quickly accepted all these, because one fundamental truth hadn't changed: Zhang Li was invincible. In her mind, Zhang Li was invincible, and indeed he was. She even believed that it wasn't because Zhang Li couldn't find the immortal realm, but because the immortal realm was afraid of Zhang Li and hid intentionally. There's nothing Zhang Li couldn't achieve. 1 grand primordial immortal, 10 golden immortals. The underworld's strength is more formidable than I imagined, the immortal elder admitted. If the heavenly Tao didn't make a move, the underworld would have the qualifications to go toe-to-toe with the immortal realm. As for these 8 great rules, I've never heard of them. They sound ordinary at first glance, since we encounter them often, but if a grand primordial immortal had to spend his entire life studying them and even the heavenly Tao must abide by them, it's not an exaggeration to call them ultimate rules. Moreover, if it's a rule that the weak are prey for the strong, wouldn't it mean that the current Shinjo violates the rule? After all, the immortal elder was the disciple of the Taoist ancestor, not the Taoist ancestor himself, hence he didn't know about these secrets. Your Majesty, Emperor Zhou has arrived, a maid outside the sleeping quarters announced respectfully. It was then that Yu Yin remembered, Gigi had indeed mentioned he would visit the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty in a few days to discuss talent exchanges. She had lost track of time while engrossed in the novel world and forgotten about this matter. She showed no signs of surprise on the outside, merely grunted with a calm and composed demeanor, giving off the impression of being in complete control of the situation. I'm just here to pay a courtesy visit. Was there a need for such grand arrangements? Gigi was surprised by Yu Yin's entourage. Zhang Li, the immortal elder, Bai Hongtu, and Pure Heart. You've reached the body integration realm. Zhang Li noticed Gigi's realm in a glance. It was evident he had just made the breakthrough recently. Zhang Li slapped his forehead, filled with regret. He should have used the power of merit to feed Gigi until he reached the Earth Immortal stage, so he could freely travel through the river of time. Come, let me see if I can send you into the river of time. Gigi, with his newfound confidence in his capabilities, felt that as a newly ascended body integration realm expert, sending someone like Zhang Li into the river of time would be easy as pie. He had promised that he could send Zhang Li into the river of time once he reached the body integration realm. Now was the time to make good on his promise. With a glare from his eyes, Gigi unleashed the power of time, gesturing with his hands while exerting himself so much that his face turned red and his veins popped out. In the end, he managed to send himself into the river of time. Gigi stood on the river of time, utterly confused about how he got there. Wasn't it supposed to be Zhang Li who came here? A silhouette approached from downstream, steering its boat rapidly towards Gigi. Gigi saw the ancestor of the Ji family whom he revered, Emperor Shun. Emperor Shun, holding an oar, used it to knock Gigi back into the Shinjo world, all the while yelling angrily. Unfilial descendant, you even tried to send that great deity into the river of time. Are you trying to collapse the river? Among the Ji descendants, only you and your daughter are gutsy. In terms of cultivation level and control over the Tao of time, Gigi was far behind Emperor Shun. Gigi was as clueless as a monk, he was still dazed when he returned to Shinjo. What just happened? How did I end up in the river of time? Bai Hongtu analyzed, perhaps it's because you've always held a privileged status as a royal prince, and thus you may not be acquainted with the concept of a seesaw. Let me explain how a seesaw works. 2 people sit on opposite ends of the seesaw. Due to the difference in weight, one person goes up while the other comes down. Your situation with Zhang Li is the same. Zhang Li weighs more than you, so no matter how much you try, you're the one who ends up in the river of time. Just because I'm a prince doesn't mean I'm a fool. Back when they were all candidates for the human emperor, Bai Hongtu treated Gigi like a fool every day. Nothing has changed since then. Gigi, on the other hand, who was proficient in time manipulation, also treated Bai Hongtu like a fool every day. So they were even. Every time Zhongli saw Gigi and Bai Hongtu quarreling, he felt he himself was far too normal and didn't fit in with these two. "Who's that trailing behind you? He looks familiar," Zhongli asked when he noticed a figure fervently scribbling among Gigi's entourage of ministers. Upon hearing Zhongli mention him, the man looked excitedly at Zhongli. He used to be Sinan, the chief disciple of the observing Mahayana sect, Gigi revealed. Zhongli then remembered him. He had met him on the shopping street during the Human Emperor Festival's preparatory stages. At that time, Sinan had declared that he knew Zhongli. And now, he is my newly appointed historian. He claims he originally wanted to become a historian in the Imperial Palace, but since it is hard to meet you there, he came to us in Zhou instead. He said he saw you more often in Zhou than in the Imperial Palace. Yu Yin, who was standing by quietly, felt there was sense in what the man said. Gigi continued, "When I appointed him, I asked him why he wanted to be a historian. He said that the initial intention of founding the observing Mahayana sect was based on the belief that you, being both the human emperor and in the Mahayana realm, were destined to be the human emperor of the 10,000 realms and that your every act was tied to the destinies of all living beings. The immortal realm has the heavenly Tao, with the immortal emperor acting on its behalf. The 10,000 realms have the human Tao, with the human emperor as its representative. The observing Mahayana sect's purpose is to observe all living beings to predict changes in the human Tao and also observe the human emperor to predict the fate of the 10,000 realms. Because the observing Mahayana sect couldn't easily observe you, they changed their approach and took up governmental positions in Zhou instead to observe you. Putting it that way, since your imperial palace doesn't even have a historian and relies entirely on Lu Commander's Memoirs of the Human Emperor, as a history book, I thought I might as well hire you one, so I accepted him." Zhongli read what historian Sinan was writing with his divine sense. The human emperor's awesome might is unfathomable. He possesses profound insights on the Tao of time. His Majesty attempted to send the human emperor into the river of time, but instead, the human emperor used supreme divine power to send His Majesty into the river of time. His Majesty returned from the river of time, clueless. "You're going to let the historian write it like this?" Gigi gestured with his mouth, hinting for Zhongli to look at an old man. "He is my real historian, responsible for recording my actions and deeds. This person called Sinan is exclusively assigned to record your actions," Gigi explained. Chapter 526. There's a phrase specially to describe how busy the human emperor Zhong is. The everlasting immortal watched as Gigi spoke confidently and couldn't help but reminisce about the Great Zhou. If one were to discuss which place most blatantly defied the rule of the survival of the fittest, it would undoubtedly be the Great Zhou. At the very beginning of the establishment of the country, Emperor Shun had set its direction and operation, with a clear intention to establish a nation governed by law. The establishment of Great Zhou overturned the perceptions of countless cultivators, who believed that Emperor Shun's move would not last long. As it turned out, Emperor Shun proved himself worthy of being the most proficient cultivator in the Tao of time. The Great Zhou boasted a long history and strong national power, particularly under the leadership of Gigi, who even brought the Great Zhou to its pinnacle. Zhongli's actions hinted at the laws of the Great Zhou. With Zhongli setting an example, Zhou was gradually moving towards the rule of law. Although the Great Zhou in the past followed the law, it was fundamentally still a society that respected the strong. In Zhongli's words, the Great Zhou of the past was based on rule by law, while the Great Zhou of today is based on the rule of law. Did Emperor Shun know about the 8 major rules? The everlasting immortal posed a question. The Great Zhou was founded 30,000 years ago, and the everlasting immortal had interacted with Emperor Shun. However, Emperor Shun was so secretive that the immortal could not discern his intentions. In front of Emperor Shun, the immortal did not dare to be arrogant. His lifespan, cultivation, and experience meant nothing to the beings of the River of Time. This is a list of people prepared for academic exchange, take a look. Gigi handed over a piece of paper, which listed the cultivation and experiences of some teachers and students, the majority of whom were law majors. This was requested by Yu Yin, who felt that the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty needed to be significantly reorganized. "I trust you." Yu Yin knew the kind of person Gigi was. As they all sat together in casual conversation, the newly appointed historian was rapidly taking notes on the side, but Zhongli paid no mind to what he was recording. In the end, the immortal returned to the Tao sect, and the pure heart saintess, worried about the restless red dust fairy, also returned to the red dust pure land. "Your Majesty, it's nearly time." The Zhuzhou artifact refinement competition is about to begin. A palace maid quietly reminded. Is this year's artifact refinement competition being held in the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty? Bai Hongtu had not paid much attention to such competitions in the past, as Tang Ben, the peak master of the artifact refinement peak, usually participated. He wouldn't get involved. It's hosted by the Luban sect. Yu Yin answered briefly, bid farewell to Zhang Li and the others, and headed to the Luban sect. After Yu Yin left, Zhang Li scratched his chin and casually asked, I'm going to participate in the artifact refinement competition, do you two want to come? Bai Hongtu and Gigi both showed great interest. I'll go, Gigi doesn't need to go. You'd better concentrate on your cultivation. You're only in the early stage of body integration realm, still a long way from crossing the tribulation. Why aren't you cultivating? Bai Hongtu taunted Gigi out of habit. Cultivation should be balanced between exertion and relaxation. Do you cultivate 365 days a year in your home? Gigi retorted without politeness. Zhang Li felt a bit embarrassed. He was always practicing, was he too busy? All because of a mere spirit plant array, you're over the moon. You're not even able to defeat Zhang Li. How could you have the face to go out and play? If I were you, I would have closed myself for cultivation already. After saying this, Gigi realized that the old historian who was recording every action and every word was beside him and quickly said, there's no need to record this sentence. The old historian replied, Your Majesty, as an historian, I should record Your Majesty's every word and deed without omission. Gigi was helpless. The only downfall of the old historian was his occupation as Gigi's historian. Gigi saw the eldest brother of the observing Mahayana sect, Sundial, right, sect master Bai Hong and His Majesty discussed the issue of cultivation, debating whether it was better to cultivate day after day or to combine work with rest for higher efficiency. They did not reach a conclusion. The human emperor observed in silence, smiling faintly, apparently, he already had an answer in his mind. Quote, Gigi suspected that those unofficial histories were probably written by people like Sundial. Under normal circumstances, Zhang Li would not participate in a competition that is only of the body integration realm at most. He proposed participating in the Zhuzhou artifact refinement competition because a mission was released by the system. Mission released. The Zhuzhou artifact refinement competition is about to begin. The host's artifact refining skill is exquisite, but there has never been a chance to show it. Among the cultivators in Zhuzhou, there has always been a rumor that the host cannot be proficient in everything, as human energy is limited and different fields are as different as mountains. Even if the host is gifted in cultivation, good at using various weapons, good at alchemy, drawing talisman, arranging formations, he cannot possibly be proficient in artifact refining. Please, get first place in the artifact refinement competition. This task cannot be abandoned. Task reward. 1 opportunity to improve a puppet, a copy of The Complete Guide to Weapon Maintenance, and a drop of Tai True Water. Looking at the opportunity to improve a puppet, Zhang Li thought of idle Zhang Li's personality and remained silent. He probably guessed what the system reward was for. It seemed that idle Zhang Li might not even have let go of the weapons. There were far more female cultivators who had ambiguous relationships with idle Zhang Li than those seen in the dream. Zhang Li, Bai Hongtu, and Gigi arrived at the Luban sect, where they saw all kinds of beautiful women. Various beautiful female cultivators were walking around the Luban sect, and ordinary cultivators couldn't tell whether these were real people or puppets. Sigh, it has not been long since I last saw, but the Luban sect's puppets have become even more lively. Gigi sighed. He was glad that the Luban sect hadn't come to their great Zhou. If they had, just the matter of legislation would have given them a headache. Speaking of which, the Union sect has several Luban sect puppets serving guests. They are very realistic, have you heard about it? Seeing the two of them looking puzzled, Bai Hongtu shook his head. Indeed, you are not concerned about the Union sect. Apart from the puppet beauties, the three of them also met many artifact refinement grandmasters, all people of great capability who had refined their own Dao artifacts. How are your artifact refining skills? Zhang Li asked. Just a bit worse than Tang Ben, barely enough to be considered the second in Zhuzhou. Bai Hongtu modestly said. Tang Ben was the peak master of the artifact refinement peak. Average, at least better than you. Gigi told Zhang Li. Just then, 2 cultivators happened to pass by, discussing Zhang Li. This time, we are fortunate to see Queen Yu Yin, it has been a worthwhile trip. It's a pity that we haven't seen Zhang, the human emperor. His artifact refinement skills are superb. If he could demonstrate a bit on the spot for us, that would be something to wake up laughing from a dream. The human Emperor Zhang has a lot of work, where can we see him? I heard that the human Emperor Zhang is busy with a big project recently. What's the big project? The man mysteriously said. The human Emperor Zhang is going to refine the entire Zhuzhou continent into an immortal artifact to protect Zhuzhou. So that's it. No wonder he hasn't come here, the human emperor is too busy. Both of them praised the great deeds of the human Emperor Zhang in succession. Zhang Li was speechless. Refining the entire Zhuzhou continent, even Tentang Benz couldn't do it. He couldn't help but interrupt. Haven't you ever doubted that human Emperor Zhang couldn't possibly do this? The two little cultivators were not pleased. That's not something you should say. You definitely don't understand human Emperor Zhang. What can't the human Emperor Zhang do? The human Emperor Zhang is so busy, caring about Zhuzhou with a broken heart, and you're still stuck on the shallow rumors of knowing only how to fight. Bai Hongtu laughed. Zhang Li is busy. Of course, do you know there's a saying that specifically describes how busy the human Emperor Zhang is? What is it? The human Emperor Zhang passes by the imperial palace 3 times without entering. Chapter 527, Flying to the Sky. Bai Hongtu laughed loudly, earning himself a harsh beatdown as a result. Gigi stepped in to mediate, admonishing, go easy on him. Just because Bai Hongtu wrote a version of the biography of Emperor Zhang, doesn't mean you have to be so aggressive. Zhang Li paused, his gaze sharpening on Bai Hongtu. Damn you, revealing that secret. Bai Hongtu raged. While the three bickered in hushed tones off stage, Jade Hidden addressed the audience on stage with a frosty expression, welcoming all competing cultivators to the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. Because the sect master of Luban sect is participating in the competition and to avoid any conflict of interest, the Luban sect cannot send a representative to join the judging panel. Therefore, the sect master has invited me to serve as a judge for this competition. Though her tone was detached and even icy, it was clear that Jade Hidden attached great importance to the competition. Her frigidity was just a part of her temperament. The audience erupted in cheers. If Jade Hidden were to serve as a judge, they could potentially engage in a conversation with this top-tier powerhouse. They believed that even a few words spoken in her presence, leaving a positive impression, could benefit them enormously. This competition will be conducted in 3 rounds on an elimination basis. Let's begin with the first round. Artifact refining is an age-old craft, of which Dazhu stands on the peak. However, in recent years, the artifact refining technique of Zhuzhou has stagnated without any sign of innovation. To ensure the long-term development of artifact refining technique, we need fresh ideas and leap out of old mindsets. We need artifact refiners, novel ideas to extend the development of artifact refining technique. A representative of the Luban sect introduced the theme of this competition. Legend has it that when the path to immortality was not entirely laid out yet, people yearned to ascend to the heavens or travel beneath the earth, which they thought was a sign of being an immortal. As the path to immortality unfolded, flying became an easily achievable feat, either through cultivation or traversing in a flying boat. But all of these methods are fundamentally dependent on spiritual energy. Previously, we did not think there was anything wrong with harnessing spiritual energy. Yet, in the world of Mingzhong, we have witnessed a different route. They utilize various natural laws to build a myriad of miraculous machines to enable flight. If not for the abnormal gravity in the world of Mingzhong, they would already be exploring the universe. Consequently, the theme for the first round is aerial travel. Using artifact refining technique, create a machine that does not require spiritual energy to operate and can allow a person to fly. The higher the puppet machine flies and the less material used, the higher your ranking. A representative of the Luban sect pointed at a puppet and said, "Please note, this humanoid puppet is devoid of spiritual intelligence and is, in essence, immortal. While the puppet is flying, it must not sustain any damage. The competition will last for 4 hours. It begins now." With the rules in place, many artifact refiners showed distressed faces. They had spent a lifetime refining spiritual treasures that relied on spiritual energy. Now that they were being told not to use spiritual energy, they were at a loss. However, more artifact refiners were excited. After the encounter between Zhuzhou and the world of Mingzhong, the latter's technology drew their interest, as it opened a new door for the artifact refining technique. They had been learning various scientific theories for a long time, and now was the time for practical application. Flying without using spiritual energy. The sect master of Luban sect was deep in thought. This was a problem posed by Jade Hidden, for which he had no prior preparation. In the world of Mingzhong, I came across a machine known as a helicopter. It uses nuclear power for propulsion. This could be attempted. The sect master of Lubin sect had once scanned a helicopter with his divine sense, and its principle of operation had left him amazed. Creating a helicopter was not a difficult task for him. There was no better choice than a helicopter for safety and altitude. The higher it flies, the higher the rank. Then we must go to space. Tang Ben, the head of Artifact Refinement Peak, pondered. In the world of zombies, there's something called a spaceship that can fly into space. Building a spaceship wasn't difficult for Tang Ben either. This round doesn't require much expertise in refining techniques. Zhang Li mused for a moment and felt that this round was not difficult. Jade Hidden silently observed the busy artifact refiners below the stage but didn't comment. The 4 hours passed quickly. The competition arena had been transformed, showcasing a variety of imaginative flying machines. Jade Hidden rose and descended from the stage to examine the results. Her gourd sash swayed at her waist, signaling her presence. What is this thing? Jade Hidden pointed at a scrapeboard lying flat, similar to a pancake griddle. Your Majesty, this is called a bamboo dragonfly. It's a flying device I created by combining technology from the world of Mingzhong. The main issue is that it's quite expensive. Attach this to the puppet's head and let's see the results. As the artifact refiner fixed the bamboo dragonfly onto the puppet's head, he explained its function. With a simple press of this button, the propeller spins and allows the puppet to fly. The artifact refiner pressed the button, causing the propeller to spin rapidly, and in turn, causing the puppet to rotate at high speed as well. Then, with the bamboo dragonfly, the puppet's head soared into the sky. Your bamboo dragonfly is quite a disaster. The gourd sash sarcastically commented. There are no negative reviews, right? Improvements will be made next time, the artifact refiner quickly assured. There was no doubt that this artifact refiner was eliminated. And what is this? Jade Hidden noticed a heap of shards resembling armor next to a puppet. This is called the aerial armor. A Lubin sect elder was the contestant. With a clap of his hands from the Lubin sect elder, the shards of armor came to life and fastened themselves onto the puppet. In a blink of an eye, the puppet was fully armed, leaving no room exposed. The puppet, clad in the aerial armor, made a round safely in the air and landed graciously. Jade Hidden nodded and softly said, "Excellent. This aerial armor is expensive and cannot be mass-produced. The armor was designed for my wife, but there was one problem I couldn't solve, preventing its completion. The wife of the extracted from the sun, refined, and converted into a stable energy source to maintain the helicopter's flight." The helicopter carried the puppet and ascended into the sky. The cost of the helicopter was much cheaper than that of the aerial armor. Next up was Tang Ben, head of the Artifact Refinement Peak, who showcased his creation, a spaceship that took the puppet into space. So far, the flying machine crafted by Tang Ben was reaching the highest altitude. In terms of the lowest cost, it was an artifact refiner who had tied the puppet to a kite. Jade Hidden then turned her attention to Gigi. Gigi slowly pulled out a remote communication talisman. He said, "Hello, Feiyan Commerce Association. Can you send me a flying mystical creature, the cheapest one? I'll pay in spirit stones upon delivery." Chapter 528. Give my puppet a ride. Soon, a mixed-blooded rock arrived. "Guest, your rush order is here," the mixed-blooded rock said respectfully. "Here, this is the agreed-upon spirit stone." After handing over the spirit stone, Gigi pointed to a puppet nearby. "You take this puppet for a spin in the sky." "Understood." As the mythical beast flew without using any spiritual energy, it didn't break the rules. Yu Yin had nothing to say. Yin Yu silently stared at Gigi, not saying a word. How thick-skinned was Gigi? So what if he was being stared at? Would they recognize him anyway? Zhang Li had disguised Gigi, and Gigi was confident that he wouldn't be recognized. Yu Yin suddenly said, "Did you know that the remote communication talismans by Hongtu gave each of us are different, Gigi?" Gigi looked blank. "Who is Gigi? I don't know him. You must have mistaken me for someone else, Empress." Gigi didn't care whether Yu Yin was fooling him or had truly recognized him. In any case, he adamantly denied it. Yu Yin thought to herself, worthy indeed of someone who could argue with Bai Hongtu. If it wasn't for you quitting early, I would have had to beat you up. When everyone was a candidate for the human emperor, apart from narrowly winning every fight with Zhang Li, the rest of the candidates were all beaten up by Yu Yin. Just as the mixed-blooded rock was about to fly high, Bai Hongtu came over. "Hold on, don't you think it's a problem to let a mystical beast fly a puppet up into the sky?" Bai Hongtu scolded Gigi for being unethical. "What's the problem?" Gigi didn't think there was any problem. "Why didn't you take my puppet along for the ride?" With that, Bai Hongtu also put his puppet on the back of the mixed-blooded rock. Now you can fly. The mixed-blood rock, looking puzzled, took the two puppets into the sky. Gigi spent a little spirit stone. Bai Hongtu didn't spend a single penny, he hitched a free ride. As Yu Yin approached Zhongli, Bai Hongtu asked softly. Did you think of asking the beast to come over? Of course not. I saw Zhongli doing it through my double pupil vision, I just imitated him. I see, I was wondering how you got so smart this time. Thanks for that. No problem. If I hadn't called the beast over, what were you planning to do? Take the puppet high into the sky, then give the puppet a parachute, and let it fly back by itself. Interesting idea. The two conversed discreetly, without any consideration to the fact that now that Gigi had used Zhongli's method, what Zhongli would do. Upon seeing Zhongli coming over with empty hands, Yu Yin asked, You're also calling Fei in Commerce Association? Zhongli waved his hand, I don't need that vulgar method. The magic gourd thought this artifact refiner might have misunderstood the vulgar method. Zhongli took out a puppet, infused it with spiritual energy, and refined it on the spot. Zhongli hurled the puppet up with his physical strength, it soared into the cosmos at steady speed, only stopping after smashing onto a planet. The puppet kicked hard and flew back to Jojo. Zhongli had enhanced the strength of the puppet, teaching it to kick. He could still manage that simple refining technique. The magic gourd's mouth was left agape, stunned by the sight before it. What was that? Human power. Yin was certain that the person in front of her was definitely Zhongli. Zhongli, Bai Hongtu, Gigi, these three unexpectedly gathered together, Yu Yin was slightly shocked. In the early days of the human emperor candidacy, Gigi, Zhongli, and Bai Hongtu, this trio, used to hang around together, causing endless headaches for the old emperor. Zhongli, who spent nothing on spirit stones, flew the highest and ranked first. Bai Hongtu, who also spent nothing on spirit stones, but didn't fly to space, ranked second. Gigi, who spent a bit of spirit stones, didn't fly to space, and was third. Yin personally ranked the top three. Once the results were out, even she felt the competition was rigged. The first round of competition eliminated many, including but not limited to, the ones who flew with human heads carried by bamboo dragonflies, and a series of artifact refiners that even living people are afraid of, such as attaching explosives to chairs. The second round of competition begins now. The most important aspect of artifact refining is power. Each of you has a piece of Zan iron stone, which is the most commonly used stone in the field of artifact refining. Now, you are required to refine a spiritual treasure that Foundation Establishment stage cultivators can use. Once the refining is done, 2 Foundation Establishment stage cultivators will use your spiritual treasures to fight. The side whose Foundation Establishment cultivator wins will advance to the next round. These Foundation Establishment stage cultivators have been specially selected. Their abilities are the same, with no weaknesses nor strengths. So, you don't have to worry about your luck. The competition time is 2 hours, starting now. The second round was more normal than the first, allowing the creation of real spiritual treasures. The struggling refiners breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that this was the key stage to surpass the others. The most powerful spiritual treasure? Of course it's the sword. Sword sovereigns, one sword breaks all. Bai Hongtu sect masters slay immortal sword formation, Zhongli's time river sword move are all famous sword Dao techniques. The sword I crafted may not reach such an exaggeration, but I will do my best to refine the blade to be extremely sharp, so sharp that it can cut open a wound even when casually dropped on the ground. In a daze, Zhongli heard someone boasting about something non-existent again. He now suspects that there are more than one author of the biography of Zhongli, perhaps others he knows who have written another version. Zan Iron Stone defeat the opponent. Zhongli looked at the Zan Iron Stone in his hand, as well as the various level foundation builders around and had an idea. If Zhong had an idea, other competitors did too. A sword? No, the sword has high requirements for the user, it's better to make a big knife. The big knife is easy to use, suitable for low-level cultivators, there is no threshold. There definitely will be people using swords as weapons, it's just not understandable, how come no one realizes that the best weapon is defense? As long as I make a shield, I will be invincible at the Foundation Establishment stage. An artifact refiner started discussing a large hammer, banging and forging, wanting to make a shield. The competition should be all-encompassing. What's the use of the 18 kinds of weapons? It's the unexpected that can win. If you can use concealed weapons, don't use them out in the open. There was an artifact refiner refining sinister and ruthless concealed weapons. Shield. No, shields only have one side, and it's possible that the Foundation cultivator won't be able to dodge in time and won't be able to defend, so it's better to refine a full set of armor, with full range defense. Even though the strength is not as strong as a shield, it wins in coverage. The elder of the puppet clan began to skillfully refine armor. Zan ironstone isn't that iron. I've learned in the Mingjiang world that it's possible to utilize the principle of electricity from magnetism. As long as I attach magnetic force to the Zan ironstone in my hand, any weapon used by the opponent at that time will be useless, all will be attracted. Someone who had furthered their studies in the Mingjiang world was back in JoJo and ready to flex their muscles, and this JoJo artifact refining competition was the first stop. Zan ironstone. Bai Hongtu pondered, how about simply making it into a statue of Zhongli? It would be both sturdy and durable. Chapter 529. Spiritual treasure combined with science and cultivation. On the battling stage, more than 100 ordinary Foundation establishment stage cultivators faced each other, holding in their hands the spiritual treasures forged by various artifact refiners. Due to the two limitations imposed by the materials utilized for artifact refining and the Foundation establishment stage cultivators' capabilities, these spiritual treasures were the lowest level magic artifacts, just enough to be used by Foundation establishment cultivators. The Foundation establishment stage cultivator representing the sect master of the Lubin sect was battling against the Foundation establishment stage cultivator representing the Lubin sect elder. Sect master, what have you crafted? It looks very much like a gun. The sect master and the elder of the Lubin sect exchanged words from the stage. The sect master of the Lubin sect nodded. This is a double-barrel gun. I designed it based on those from the Mingjiang world, hence it harnesses spiritual energy for operation, offering much greater firepower than gunpowder. The Foundation establishment cultivator held the double-barrel gun with an unfamiliar motion. The blend of technology and cultivation in the weapon's design was something he was not accustomed to. Boom, 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 boom. 4 spiritual energy bullets hit the Foundation establishment cultivator representing the Lubin sect elder. Protected by his armor, the bullets only left dents. The two Foundation establishment cultivators clashed and the cultivator representing the sect master of the Lubin sect was at a disadvantage, unable to pose a threat to his opponent. Haha, sect master, your creation is ineffective. It can't penetrate my defense. The bullet's power is too weak. The elder of the Lubin sect laughed. If you had made a powerful weapon, my armor surely wouldn't resist it. Too bad you haven't. Just as the Lubin sect elder was reveling in his seeming advantage, the situation changed. The dual guns disassembled, transformed, and fused to become a small rocket launcher. Spiritual energy was poured in. Boom. A spiritual energy cannonball was discharged. The elder of the Lubin sect realized the gravity of the situation and swiftly defended himself, managing to obstruct the cannonball. The power of the cannonball was certainly beyond what his self-crafted armor could withstand. Elder son, I told you before, you cannot be too sure. Before the battle, I told this young cultivator to test his aim with a few shots first, then, based on the position on the armor where the bullets landed, identify its weaknesses. Finally, combine the two guns to fire a small cannonball. The sect master of the Lubin sect said joyously. The elder shook his head helplessly. In the end, I still cannot surpass the sect master. The sect master of the Lubin sect was victorious. Master Tang Ben, your small shield, despite being sturdy, clearly does not suit this young cultivator. A slight miscue, and he will fall under the blade I crafted. You talk as if the Foundation establishment stage cultivator representing you knows how to use a sword. Tang Ben rolled his eyes. Whether he knows how to use it or not isn't my concern, all I know is that attacking holds a higher probability of victory than defending. Tang Ben conversed with another master of artifact refining. Just as the master of artifact refining predicted, the cultivator representing Tang Ben reacted hurriedly in his dodges, nearly getting chopped several times. Believing victory was in his grasp, the master of artifact refining noticed his opponent stumbling, making it impossible for him to evade his sword. However, the small shield unexpectedly transformed into tiny granules that adhered to the cultivator's skin, conveniently appearing at the point where the sword aimed to strike. The small shield seemed to have a life of its own, continuously moving and blocking several successive strikes launched by the opponent representing the master of artifact refining. What is this? The master of artifact refining hadn't seen a spiritual treasure of this kind before. It's a product of combining nanotechnology with spiritual treasures. It can detect the enemy's movements and automatically defend. With the revelation of the shield's true power, the situation on the field changed. The small shield attached itself to the cultivator's palm and with a closing of his hands, he seized the incoming sword. With both the sword and shield in hand, there was no need to continue the battle. Tang Ben was victorious. Before leaving, Tang Ben patted the master of artifact refining on the shoulder. If you're feeling down, you can take a trip to the Mingjiang world, you might discover some unexpected gains. Here, just do as I instructed. Gigi handed an ordinary iron stick to the young cultivator representing him in the battle, followed by a few more reminders. The young cultivator was visibly befuddled but followed Gigi's instructions nonetheless. Let's see, first crouch down immediately after the start of the match. The opponent's punch missed its mark as it was dodged by the crouching young cultivator. Then, swing the stick horizontally to trip him, roll twice backwards. His opponent was tripped by the stick, fell face forward, and spat out 2 iron needles. The young cultivator sidestepped the surprise needle attack, continuing to mutter, get up and sidestep, then punch forward. Take 2 breaths, then jump up. Spin the iron stick at your fastest speed 4 times. The young cultivator spun the stick, deflecting several hidden weapons. After 4 breaths, make 5 lateral steps to the left. The opponent opened his palm, revealing iron scraps. He threw them towards the young cultivator, who, anticipating his opponent's move, was already out of the way. The shower of iron scraps fell into empty space. The master of artifact refining, who specialized in crafting hidden weapons, was seething with rage. His weapons always proved instrumental in harming enemies. He simply did not expect his string of victories to be interrupted here. Subduing his opponent with the iron stick, Gigi emerged victorious. Here, hold onto your weapon, a shield. Bai Hongtu handed a shield to a young cultivator. A young master of artifact refining, Bai Hongtu's opponent, found this unusual. He remembered that the young cultivator Bai Hongtu approached was representing him. Did I remember wrongly? The young master of artifact refining thought he might have mixed up due to the busy artifact refining schedule, so he handed a handful of iron sand to another young cultivator. This iron sand was not a hidden weapon, but a superior spiritual treasure that had been refined and could move with the cultivator's intentions. The 2 young cultivators battled fiercely. The iron sand was overwhelmingly powerful, it got in everywhere. The shield Bai Hongtu gave couldn't keep the iron sand out. When it looked like the iron sand was about to enter through his 7 apertures, the young cultivator forfeited the match. Seeing this, the referee stepped in to check the situation and finally declared Bai Hongtu the victor. Bai Hongtu wasn't surprised at all. Wait, I object. I clearly won this match. The young master of artifact refining was unwilling to concede, feeling that there was some foul play. The referee gave the young master of artifact refining a cold look. Your weapon is indeed impressive. In actual combat, no one can defeat you except those with a magnet. But you 2 have given your weapons to the wrong people. The young cultivator with the shield was actually representing you. The young master of artifact refining was speechless, feeling that he had been deceived. With him in a state of shock, the referee added, at the start of the match, you were doubtful and felt that the weapons were delivered to the wrong people. However, you didn't raise any objections. As an artifact refiner, if you can't even have confidence, how much of your artifact refining skills can you utilize when it comes to crunch time? The first step of artifact refining is to refine your heart. This is something your master should have taught you when you first picked up the hammer. It seems you have completely forgotten it. Luckily I didn't use Zhongli's statue this time. Otherwise, your iron sand would have slipped into the cracks of the statue, eventually defeating the young cultivator representing me. Bai Hongtu sighed in relief. He changed his strategy at the last moment and pulled off a successful deception. Even if Zhongli's statue was transformed into a full-body armor, it would still need some gaps for breathing, and these gaps would be its weak points. Bai Hongtu wouldn't leave such a weakness in his plan. I knew my luck has always been good. As long as Bai Hongtu doesn't encounter Zhongli, everything in his life goes smoothly. When he runs into Zhongli, he somehow always ends up fighting an uphill battle. Chapter 530. The foolish old man moves mountains, touches the human emperor. Master, can this thing be counted as a weapon? The junior cultivator looked at Zhongli in confusion, not understanding what he could do with the thing in his hand. Absolutely. They say that the peak of military skill is not laying siege to a fortress, but attacking the enemy's mind, which is exactly my plan. Go on, you'll understand my meaning. As the fight started, neither the junior cultivator nor his opponent were armed. Where's your weapon? The opponent was puzzled. His weapon was a magnet. Without a weapon on his opponent, his magnet would be useless. With no other choice, the junior cultivator steeled himself and said, just wait and see during the fight. And so, the two began to fight bare-handed. Midway through, when the junior cultivator found it hard to determine who was winning, He followed Zhang Li's instructions, took out a small iron box, and pressed a black button. Out of the box came an emotionless voice. I surrender, I surrender, I surrender. The opponent thought that this was a sign of surrender and instinctively slowed down his attack. Seizing his chance, the junior cultivator gained the upper hand. Referee, he has admitted defeat, yet he is still hitting me. The opponent was haughty. The referee came to inspect the situation and found that it was the weapon that was speaking, which couldn't represent the intent of the junior cultivator, so he allowed them to continue fighting. I surrender, I surrender. The emotionless and repetitive voice annoyed the opponent. His focus was continually disrupted, and he was consistently on the back foot. He couldn't turn the situation around. In anger, the opponent took out his magnet and sucked the little iron box away. Then, he discovered that he could only turn on the little iron box and could not turn it off. Now he was the one with the constant repetition of, I surrender, by his side. The opponent went into a frenzy, his mindset exploded, and threw both the magnet and the small iron box aside. With equal strengths, but a disrupted mindset on one side, it was inevitable that the other side would win. The junior cultivator representing Zhang Li won. Zhang Li scratched his cheek. He had only intended to use words to disrupt his opponent's thoughts, but he hadn't expected his opponent to use a magnet. The final disturbance effect was even better than he had anticipated. The second round ended with half of the participants eliminated. Yu Yin sighed in regret upon seeing Zhang Li and his companions advance. The third round will be held elsewhere. With a wave of his hand, Yu Yin carried everyone off, flying towards a remote area of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. After a full day of competition, it was already night. They saw a small rustic village surrounded by mountains on all sides. Yu Yin plainly said, the villagers are all mortal. They are facing various difficulties in life. Considering that the skills of the artifact refiners participating in this third round vary, you are required to help them solve their problems using refining techniques that do not exceed the foundation establishment stage, without the use of mana. The one who solves the most problems will be the final winner. In this competition, you can form teams freely. The time limit is 5 days. After announcing the rules of the competition, Yu Yin disappeared. Shall the three of us team up? Zhang Li suggested. Reluctantly, Bai Hongtu and Ji agreed. Where are you from? Seeing a large group of people, the village chief asked with a furrowed brow, growing wary. Village chief, we are cultivators from the Great Zhou dynasty, passing through this area. We'd like to stay here for a few days, and we will pay you. Hearing that they were cultivators from the Great Zhou dynasty, the village chief pushed his caution away. Cultivators from the Great Zhou dynasty were trustworthy. He waved his hand, you don't need to pay us. We have enough to sustain you. Zhang Li and the others thanked the village chief. Village chief, do you have any problems we could help you solve? The weather has been sweltering lately. Even wiping our bodies with towels, it's hard to fall asleep at night. If we can't sleep at night, we feel listless during the day and unable to work. Bai Hongtu jumped at the chance to answer. That's simple, I can tell you some ghost stories. After I finish, you'll be so cold you'll easily fall asleep. Nobody tells ghost stories quite like me. Zhang Li kicked Bai Hongtu to the side. Shouldn't the first solution be to refine air conditioners and electric fans? Why is your first idea to tell ghost stories? Ji was the reliable one, refining an air conditioning unit powered by spiritual energy and giving it to the village chief. At this stage, the combination of cultivation and technology was still being explored. This air conditioner was one of those products. Looks like we can have a good night's sleep tonight. The village chief was delighted. This air conditioner would only be useful in this small village. In any other place, there would be no need for an air conditioner. An ordinary cooling talisman would suffice. Bai Hongtu complained, feeling that this round was limiting his talent. Cooling talismans were basic talismans. By now, the automated production of basic talismans was taking shape, and they were so cheap that even mortals could afford them. After bidding farewell to the village chief, Zhang Li and his companions went to another household to deliver an air conditioner. Ma'am, besides the hot weather, have you encountered any other problems recently? Yes, indeed, my child doesn't like to exercise. Even when asked to lose weight, he refuses. Just give him a good beating, and he'll behave. Bai Hongtu popped his head into comment. Ji gave him a sidelong glance. How many times has Zhang Li thrashed you? Haven't seen you settle down. Bai Hongtu responded confidently. That just goes to show that my will is strong and I am not influenced by external forces. Impressive. I have an idea. Bai Hongtu rolled up his sleeves and began refining a spiritual treasure on the spot. What in the heavens have you refined? Zhongli noticed that Bai Hongtu had refined a large iron cage with rotating tracks at the bottom. Put their child in the iron cage, lock the door, let the tracks rotate to force him to exercise. Don't let him out until he completes his daily target. Bai Hongtu was somewhat dissatisfied with the spiritual treasure he had refined. The cage should be electrified. That way, the kid wouldn't dare to lie down and slack off. If this cage ever appears in our Great Zhou, I'd charge you with child abuse. Why doesn't the child want to exercise? Zhongli felt that he had to figure out a plan himself. The old lady sighed. He feels indifferent to whether or not he loses weight because there are more girls than boys in the village. Even if he's fat, he isn't worried about not being able to marry. Isn't he worried about the village girls leaving? No, our village is cut off from the outside world. Even if they go out, they'll be disoriented and ultimately have to return to the village. I thought about setting off for the outside world, but as soon as I got there, I was swindled, and all my assets were taken. I was even sold off and used as labor for 3 months. I found an opportunity to escape and returned here, abandoning any plans of leaving the village. Gigi sighed. Few words could describe the law and order situation in the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. Actually, everyone in the village is discussing whether or not to move the mountains to establish a pathway for communication with the outside world. Move the mountain. Zhongli found this amusing. Haven't you heard the story of the foolish old man who removed the mountains? It was told by the human emperor. I thought everyone in the outside world knew it. According to the story the human emperor told, the foolish old man was determined to move the mountain and would keep doing so for generations until the mountain was eventually cleared. The immortal emperor was deeply moved and sent an immortal to move the mountain. Although there's no immortal emperor now, we have the human emperor. As long as we continue to move the mountain and impress the human emperor with our determination, the human emperor will send cultivators to help us. By the way, can you help us move the mountain? Chapter 531, Sharing Artifact Refining Techniques. By daylight, the small village comes to life, and Zhongli and the others meet more of the villagers. As the old woman said last night, the villagers are discussing whether or not to establish contact with the outside world. Compared to the outside world, this small village appears significantly backward, unaware that the JoJo has connected to several worlds, let alone the falling prices of low-level talismans. Over the past decade, JoJo has developed rapidly, having a significant effect on low-ranking cultivators and ordinary folk. Those who do not venture out for a few years risk being left behind by the times. Zhongli also discovers that the villagers' cultivation method is flawed and somewhat different from orthodox cultivation. This presents a major problem. It should be due to them practicing cultivation on their own for an extended period, gradually deviating from the proper path. And also the mountain moving the old woman mentioned last night. To move a mountain at least requires a god transformation stage cultivator, yet the small village obviously has no place worth the effort of such a powerful cultivator. Zhongli ponders that Yu Yin must have chosen this location for the third trial because she's aware of the village's condition. Nevertheless, the rules have restricted her to the foundation establishment stage. There must be a reason for it. While pondering, Zhongli wanders through the mountains, making his way outside to observe the situation of the outer world. Outside the mountain is a shabby small town. Even a foundation establishment stage cultivator is absent. Given the physical fitness level of a third stage Qi cultivation, it would take over an hour to get from the small village to outside of the mountain. Round trip would require almost 6 hours. That's too time-consuming. Zhongli and the others approach the village head again. Village head, I heard that you want to establish contact with the outside world. We are considering it. A few days ago, I gathered everyone in the village. There was a heated debate, full of different opinions. Some people are curious about the outside world and want to venture out, while others think they can live self-sufficient lives here as they have been for generations and see no reason to move. The most absurd idea is to appeal to the human emperor's sentiment with the spirit of Yugong moving the mountains, requesting him to use his great divine power to move the mountains for us. It's ridiculous. There are people in the village who believe the human emperor is omnipotent and that he would definitely help them when he sees their difficulties. It's inevitable for a village as closed off like this one that after the 300 years of the human emperor's reign, some people would have heard about him while venturing outside. They fantasize about the manna from heaven without wanting to do any work. And what's your opinion, village head? I'm not sure. To be honest, I ventured to the outside world many years ago and saw the artifact refining technique. It's entirely different from what you demonstrated last night. The outside world has seen massive changes while we remain stagnant. In a few more decades, this village and the outside world will completely turn into separate worlds. But the outside world is full of cheaters and fraudsters. I'm afraid that if we go outside, the entire village might end up being deceived and sent to work in the mines. Could you update me on the current situation outside? Zhang Li nods. Yu Yin is still the ruling empress. 10 years ago, she became a tribulation crossing cultivator and took full control over the political aspect. Since then, she has been trying to change the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty. The village head finds it hard to believe, can the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty still be changed? The more intense the struggle within the dynasty, the stronger its national fortune becomes. That's what led to its current state. Bai Hongtu adds, Yu Yin said that the previous Tianyuan Emperor dynasty had been filled with blatant and covert power struggles. She wants to reduce the frequency of covert fights and increase open competition to shift from vicious competition to benign competition. This way, the national fortune won't be affected, and the people will live better lives than before. She didn't do so before because firstly, she wasn't fully in control of the Tianyuan Emperor dynasty, and secondly, she was afraid that if the national policy was changed, the national fortune would be affected, dragging her down with it. But now that she's at the tribulation crossing stage, even if the national fortune changes, it won't greatly affect her. By this point, Zhang Li has roughly understood Yu Yin's intentions. If someone were to help you relocate to the outside of the mountains to establish terraced fields for farming, how much would you be willing to pay? Once they go outside, they'll need to find a way to sustain their lives. The village head looks troubled. Our village is very poor. Even if we can gather all the precious beast skins and spirit grass gained from hunting in the mountains, we still can't afford to hire a foundation establishment stage cultivator. That would be enough. Yu Yin's intention is to allow the village to become self-sufficient rather than solely depending on others, which coincides with Zhang Li's usual advocacy. But there are still many villagers who don't want to relocate. We wouldn't have enough time if we need to persuade them one by one. Zhang Li seeks out the sect master of the Luban sect, Tang Ben, and several dozen other artifact refiners. The other artifact refiners are also helping out around the village. In doing so, they have noticed that the key issue is relocating the village. Once this issue is resolved, the other minor problems will be easily solved. Zhang Li talks to them briefly. Understanding his intentions, they start to split up, each one trying to persuade the villagers. During this period, they discuss how to refine simple spiritual treasures that can be used for moving house and clearing land for farming. Zhang Li watches their discussion with envy. The top artifact refiners of Jojo are expressing their views. All bring valid points to the table, but none of them agrees with the others, resulting in a lack of consensus. In the end, Tang Ben, who is universally recognized as the #1 artifact refiner, takes the lead to integrate all opinions and refines farming tools that even ordinary people can use. This kind of spiritual treasure can be promoted on a large scale. Tang Ben approves, finding these farming tools even more convenient and useful than the ones he designed himself. I don't have many artifact refiners around me, and I've always been learning by myself without discussing with others. It feels really good to have such an open discussion. How about this? Let's set a fixed time for us all to gather and discuss issues related to artifact refining in the future. As for the location, let's set it to be the Luban sect. The only artifact refiner who does not know how to refine artifacts suggests. I think this method is feasible. The sect master of the Luban sect is the first one to agree. Good idea. Both Bai Hongtu and Gigi agree. The suggestion is met with waves of approvals. 3 days later, the entire village relocates to the outside of the mountains, settling in the small town. Zhang Li has investigated beforehand and found that the area outside of the mountains is vast and sparsely populated, which is perfect for the village to settle down. Zhang Li, Bai Hongtu, and Gigi take care of the villagers' settlement, making arrangements with the town chief. Since the population of the small town increases, the town chief naturally agrees. The town chief originally tries to squeeze the villagers for some money, but Zhang Li subtly hints that the small village has caught the attention of Empress Yu Yin and shows the token which Yu Yin bestowed. The token is forged, but the attention from Yu Yin is real. With that, the town chief hesitates to make any rash moves. Zhang Li also advises the villagers to be extra cautious and consider their actions thoroughly. If they are uncertain about something, they can discuss it with the village head. During this period, the artifact refiners use the newly invented easy-to-use spiritual treasures to help clear land for the village. All matters are settled just 5 days later. The competition concludes. I didn't expect that you would guess my intentions correctly. Yu Yin appears, conversing with Zhang Li and the others. It would have been possible for a single foundation establishment stage artifact refiner to handle the relocation, but that would take too much time. Therefore, Yu Yin set a 5-day time limit, requiring all the artifact refiners to work together. As for the future artifact refiners exchange being held at the Luban sect, that comes as a pleasant surprise to Yu Yin. But since you all worked together to solve the problem in this third round, who should win? Zhang Li smiles awkwardly. In this competition, especially the first 2 rounds, we messed around and definitely can't be the winner. You are the judge, you decide. Both Bai Hongtu and Gigi feel they went too far and declare that they should not be the first place. Then according to the size of contribution, let's make Tang Ben the winner. Chapter 532, How is Sect Master Bai summoned here? Tang Ben continues to be the top artifact refiner in JoJo. The mission released by the system failed, but this does not impact the subsequent missions issued by the system. Mission released. You dazzled at the JoJo Artifact Refinement Contest, attracting the attention of many. Your ability in artifact refinement is spreading throughout JoJo and people are beginning to refer to you as an all-round cultivator. The second young miss of the Lan family, a prominent family in artifact refinement, has approached you about a problem she's encountering in artifact refinement, hoping that you can solve it. Please help the second young miss of the Lan family solve her dilemma in artifact refinement. This mission is not recommended to be abandoned. Mission reward. A peach of red dust pure land, a set of dragon roar forging method, a volume of sword forging technique. At this time, Gigi has already returned to Zhou, consolidating the body integration realm cultivation he gained painstakingly. Zhang Li, leaning towards Bai Hongtu, asked. Are you familiar with the Lan family, the prominent clan in artifact making? Somewhat. Bai Hongtu pointed towards the 4th placer in the artifact refinement competition and said, do you see the one who placed 4th? Are you referring to the woman cultivator standing outside the award stage, dressed in blue, eagerly looking at the top 3 winners? That's her, the 4th placer in this competition, Lan Huaner, the current family head of the Lan family. It is said that when she encountered a problem in artifact refinement, no one could answer it. She ran to remote mountains and wild ridges, lived a hermit life for 3 years, observed the celestial phenomena at night, studied nature, and finally solved the problem. Been growing ever since, her artifact refinement talent surpassed her father's, making her the family head. Despite her only obtaining the 4th place, that's because her own cultivation level is not high enough. She is only in the divinity transformation stage. But her artifact refinement talent is undoubtful. Once she becomes a cultivator in the body integration realm, she could compete with Tang Ben. I heard Tang Ben say that he plans to recruit Lan Huaner into Dao sect and become the next sect master of artifact refinement peak. However, Lan Huaner has been rejecting him for the reason of running the Lan family. While Bai Hongtu spoke, Zhang Li abandoned the mission. Seeing Yu Yin coming towards this direction, Zhang Li waved. There's something I need to discuss. What is it? The fact that you've obtained the coordinates of the 10,000 realms from the Emperor of Hu. Zhang Li was stunned. How could she guess it? I reckoned that you haven't decided how to deal with these coordinates and need to discuss with someone rational. So, I came, said Yu Yin lightheartedly. She deliberately left her wishful gourd on the seat before coming, not bringing it with her. What's your idea? Bai Hongtu asked Zhang Li. I want to make the coordinates public to all cultivators in JoJo. All cultivators can choose to explore the unknown world. The issue with travel can be handled by the fan tower. It can establish 20 permanent transport channels, but for unpermanent transport channels, there's no limit. Bai Hongtu pondered. Publicity is not a problem. However, we need to raise the entry requirements for going to these unknown worlds. Not everyone can go. Cultivators in Qi cultivation stage lack experience and their cultivation is not high enough. Going to unfamiliar foreign worlds, they can easily encounter danger. Yu Yin suggested, we could set it to nascent soul stage. Indeed, if one can cultivate to the nascent soul stage, they must be cunning, not prone to fall into a trap and get killed in a foreign land, able to run away when encountering danger. Moreover, there are a lot of nascent soul stage cultivators which can enhance the efficiency of world exploration. Let's set the requirement that each team going to an unknown world must be led by at least one nascent soul stage cultivator. Though the nascent soul stage doesn't seem to have much presence in JoJo, that's because there are too many powerful people in JoJo. In a typical world, nascent soul stage cultivators belong to upper middle tier of combat power, such as in martial arts world and zombie world. The cultivators' task in other worlds is exploration, not fighting. It's enough to have the basic combat power. If they encounter danger, they can use my statue to protect themselves. If that's not enough, they can summon cultivators in the body integration realm. Every team setting off is equipped with 3 body integration realm summoning charms, 1 transcendence tribulation stage summoning charm, and a summoning charm for me. Bai Hongtu worried that the cultivators would summon them for any difficulties that can be handled by body integration realm cultivators. We need to remind them not to summon us for everything they encounter, or we won't need to do anything else every day, just wait to be summoned. The 3 people were discussing the details when suddenly, Bai Hongtu's figure began to fade. Someone is summoning me, Bai Hongtu exclaimed excitedly. It must have been a major problem that the exploration team in another world encountered and needed him to solve. See that, I come in handy at crucial times. Bai Hongtu cast a provocative glance at Zhang Li, leaving these words behind, he disappeared. How did you guys manage to summon Sect Master Bai? 2 kilometers underground, in a massive steel building, various tubes and wires interweaved, only the original designer could make sense of it. A few inexperienced cultivators from the spiritual medicine sect were clumsily holding the summons talisman. They originally wanted to summon Zhang Li, but in their panic, they ended up getting Bai Hongtu's summons talisman. These novice monks and the sect master of the spiritual medicine sect were exploring different parts of the world, using their spells to bypass alert systems and pass through various checkpoints. Unfortunately, they accidentally tripped the alarm. 9 20-meter-tall metal robot statues sensed visitors, activated desperate measures, emitted red light from their eyes, and prepared to launch an attack on these uninvited guests. The emotionless voice of the robots echoed in unison, no access information detected. Intruders must die. The novice monks couldn't figure out the level of these robots' power, whether they were at body integration realm level, or transcendence tribulation stage, it wasn't something they could handle. The sect master and the Great Confucian word post were maybe tens of thousands of miles away, they couldn't possibly rescue them. Hundreds of thousands degree heat rays shot from the eyes of the robots. The slightest touch would turn their small bodies to ashes, no miraculous elixir could save them. May the human Emperor Zhang Li bless us, save us, human Emperor Zhang Li. Haha, it's not human Emperor Zhang Li who will save you, it's the great human Emperor Bai, who's here to rescue you. Bai Hongtu appeared, effortlessly blocking the high-temperature rays. Merely 100,000 degrees wouldn't even singe his hair. No, the human Emperor Zhang Li could still be of use. Zhang Li's voice appeared behind Bai Hongtu, startling him. Did he just say something that he shouldn't have, and Zhang Li heard it? The novice monks, after summoning the wrong person, quickly corrected their mistake and also summoned Zhang Li. The 9 robots scanned Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu, but their systems just saw a white nothingness, unable to analyze the 2 men. Robots lack intelligence. They did not know how strong Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu were. Their only mission is to protect the forbidden area. Those who come here without permission will die. The robot arms transformed into gun barrels, releasing tactical nuclear bombs. If detonated, these few monks wouldn't survive. With a light touch from Bai Hongtu, the nuclear bombs turned to gold, unable to explode. This was the Taoist magic, stone to gold. The robots released poisonous gas. Anyone who inhaled it would die instantly. Zhang Li lightly blew out a cold breath, freezing the poison gas into a solid that fell to the ground. A cracking noise echoed as the solid crumbled into tiny shards. The 9 robots had various attack methods. Any creature on this planet, once having faced them, would die. Unfortunately for them, their opponent came from another world. The material of this robot is not bad, capable of combating against the body integration realm, and its skills are commendable. Bai Hongtu sauntered forward, unmindful of the attacks raining down on him, feeling no pain. He pointed at the robot's calf, turning it into solid gold. Zhang Li also took a step forward. The immense pressure his presence emitted pinned the robot to the ground. Seeing the robot still attempting to resist, Zhang Li waved carelessly and cut off the robot's energy source, completely depriving it of the ability to move. Zhang Li turned around, smiled at the novice monks, and asked warmly, "Can you explain what happened to you in this world?" The novice monks nodded vigorously in response. Chapter 533. This world is the continent world, known as the forging machinery world. Before we arrived here, the Great Confucian word post had told us that there are no human clans in this world, only robots. Initially, we didn't believe it, but when we arrived, we realized that there genuinely weren't any human clans in this world. We naturally thought of what our textbooks said, that all worlds contain human clans. We thought that the human clan of this world had been extinguished, but the Great Confucian word post said otherwise. It suggested that these robots possessed souls, and speculated that the human clan of this world survived in the form of robots. The ruler of the forging machinery world is known as the Mechanical King. We found the mechanical king, explained our origins, and asked for aid. But upon hearing about the multitude of strong and long-lived individuals in our JoJo world, it changed its demeanor drastically. It wanted to capture us. Considering we were outsiders, the sect master didn't wish to enter into conflict with them. Thus, he led us away and initiated solo exploration to discover the world's truth. As we delved into history, exploring various ruins buried in sandy rivers, we gradually unraveled the truth of this world filled with robots. Initially, the forging machinery world was a typical technological civilization, just having mastered controlled nuclear fusion, resolving energy problems. The human clan ruled the world, while the robots served as auxiliary tools. Humans yearned for life, hoping for immortality. Even by tackling the problem at the genetic level, reducing disease-causing genes and increasing longevity genes, the solution wasn't indefinite. The body would still face various unexpected problems, eventually even resulting in genetic diseases, a malady beyond cure. People replaced problematic body parts with mechanical ones, mechanical hearts, breathing pathways, lungs, and stomachs. Apart from their brains, everything was mechanical. Later, they made a significant technological breakthrough, the ability to replace the brain with a mechanical one. From there, they achieved their goal, thoroughly freeing themselves from the physical constraints of the flesh and from disease. This marked their transformation into the mechanical clan, entering an era of total mechanization. Although not immortal, they could live up to the maximum lifespan of an ordinary person, 140 years. If they wanted to prolong their lives further, they needed to cultivate their souls. The technological level of the forging machinery world hadn't reached that degree. These are the historical facts that we discovered while exploring the remains with the sect master, an immortal artifact. This history is so ancient that no one remembers it anymore. The people of this world believe that they have been members of the mechanical clan since time immemorial. When we deciphered the history, the sect master raised a new question: how do the robots reproduce? Souls can't appear out of thin air, nor can they attach themselves to newly born robots. We later found out that all newborns come from a place called Mother of All Beings. We decided to split into 3 groups to search for the nest. The Great Confucian word post took one path, the sect master took another, and the rest of us joined forces and took the third. The robots here drink a blend of petrol with alcohol. In an alcohol house, we found a clue, infiltrated the metropolis, deceived the guards with a spell, and finally arrived at this underground base, 2,000 meters below the ground. Zhang Li nodded. The ground above the underground base wasn't just dirt but was layered with 16 isolation layers in sequential order, a 60-meter-thick concrete wall, an alloy of lead and zirconium to resist nuclear attacks, a thick carbon nitride film. Each layer was filled with graphite powder in between, ensuring the underground base would remain undisturbed, whether due to continued nuclear detonations, launched excavation missiles, or even direct collision from falling meteors. Just as we were on the verge of success, we triggered a warning device. Out of options, we had to request the human emperor and sect master to come. One of the young cultivators pointed at the large door occupying an entire wall behind the mechanical guards, saying, "Behind this great door is the Mother of All Beings." Zhang Li pushed the obstructing mechanical guards aside, placed his hand on the heavy door, and grasped the principle of its operation. This door is made of rare metals combined with intricate gears in the middle. It can only be opened with a 4-fold verification: engine coding of a specific robot, its voice, and its soul. If someone tries to forcibly open the door, it will automatically lock itself and can only be opened by that specific robot. The young cultivators were anxious. The specific robot is the mechanical king, and it will never help us open the door. With a gentle push from Zhang Li, the door automatically locked itself. A force like a surging flood beast then turned and forcibly opened the door. If the force is immense, the difficulties mentioned earlier don't matter. In front of Zhang Li, this sturdy door, representing the crystallized wisdom of the forging machinery civilization, was no different from a piece of paper. After opening the door, the young cultivators saw a sight they couldn't comprehend. Numerous genetically identical male infants were floating in nutrient vessels. The vessels were tidily arranged according to the state of the infant's development, from the embryonic stage to the umbilical cord coupled stage, to the stage of eye, mouth, and esophagus development. The liquid inside the vessel seemed to have the ability to separate the soul. When the infant grew to 1 year old, the soul would leave the body and attach itself to a freshly produced robot. After the baby robot received a soul, it began to move around, crawling haphazardly and making infant-like noises. The Mother of All Beings was the place where robots received their souls. Zhang Li and Bai Hongtu had expected this. When they arrived in this world, they had scanned the mechanical production line behind the door with their divine sense and knew everything. Robots couldn't generate souls, so they made use of cloning technology to create infants, which became the source of souls. Zhongli clapped his hands. Let's go check out what's above. There are people waiting for us. The young cultivators were confused. On the surface, Zhongli saw countless humans who looked identical to members of the human clan at first glance. A young cultivator remarked, "There's a skin-swapping shop here. Robots can freely change their skins. Having identical appearances isn't a problem because everyone identifies each other through brain waves." The figure leading the pack donned a high-ranking officer's uniform. The profusion of medals of honor hanging from his chest spoke of his status. The singular ruler of the forging machinery civilization, the Mechanical King. The Mechanical King appeared to be a steady middle-aged man, but his actual age was 90 years. As he had a robot body, as long as his soul didn't feel aging, he could maintain the vigor of a young man forever. Astro is with an E at the end and not an O. He faced the well-prepared army, the stern Mechanical King, and various novel weapons he had never seen before. All of these held immense malice for Zhongli and the others. Fire at the thieves who have infiltrated the mother of all beings. This place was the most prosperous city in the forging machinery civilization, housing 40 million robots. On learning about an intrusion underground, the Mechanical King evacuated all the citizens in record time, intending to severely punish the thieves. He harbored jealousy towards these cultivators from the JoJo world. They abandoned their bodies in their pursuit of longevity. Why could these ordinary flesh and blood people live for hundreds to thousands of years? Upon introducing himself, Sect Master Huang Chengdan claimed he was 800 years old. This claim ignited the Mechanical King's envious rage. Chapter 534, The Hidden Poison. Mimicking the sun bullets and annihilation cannons, similar to those in the Mingzhong world, were fired like rain with a range of only 10 meters, but their power surpassed that of the Mingzhong world. Bai Hongtu treated it as a formidable enemy. These weapons were extremely powerful, enough to bother those in the body integration realm. The novices didn't know the power of these weapons, nor did they need to, because Emperor Zhongli was there. Bai Hongtu burst into wild laughter, blocking all the attacks. "Ha ha ha, don't be afraid. As long as I and Zhongli are here, even if a being of the primordial chaos immortal realm makes a move, none of you will get injured." Zhongli glanced at Bai Hongtu. "When the time comes, you'll probably have to stand alongside the novices." Seeing that the attack was ineffective, the Machine King launched a new round of attack. Radiation, lasers, supersonic waves, electromagnetic waves, attacks in various forms of energy emerged in an endless stream. These are not as powerful as the mimicking sun bullets and the annihilation cannons. Zhongli shook his head. If those in the body integration realm don't possess the tri-unity characteristic, and simply rely on physical defense, they would struggle to withstand the high temperature of the mimicking sun bullet and the positive and negative annihilation reaction of the annihilation cannon. If the mimicking sun bullets or annihilation cannons landed on the heads of the 6th-level zombies, even they would suffer. However, attacks like radiation and lasers have little effect on those in the body integration realm. Zhongli ignored these attacks, leisurely walking towards the Machine King, his manner suggesting a casual stroll after dinner. The Machine King hurriedly retreated, pulling out a button from his pocket. The entire metropolis moved like a sentient creature, the streets rising like octopus arms, the ground shifting, buildings malleable like rubber clay, becoming a part of a giant machine. The army willingly merged into the city, turning into electronic components. Seeing the roads also beginning to change under his feet, Bai Hongtu quickly led the novices out of the city and into the outskirts. From afar, they saw the city dust-strewn, with blinking red lights, as though some ancient life which had been dormant was now awakening. This city is the most potent weapon of our forging machinery world. No one can survive under its attack. The Machine King laughed wildly as he, too, merged into the city, assuming control of the entire city as its core. The city turned into a mechanical octopus. Through the thick dust, the novices could clearly hear what the Machine King was saying. "Just a casual swing of my 8 mechanical arms and even the mountains would be raised to half their height. The lasers on my arms can heat up to a temperature so high that even the sun would look pale in comparison. I also possess a gravitational field. Any attack that nears me will lose its power under the tenfold gravity and fall to the ground. If I wish to, I can excavate through the entire continent in half a day's time. With just a casual launch of a bomb on my part, the shockwave could cause the entire continent to tremble slightly. What can you possibly use to fight me?" As the dust settled, the giant octopus was lying on the ground like a dead dog. The novices looked at each other. They felt they seemed to have missed some process in between. Zhongli pulled the Machine King out. The Machine King sat solemnly. Let's have a chat about what exactly is happening in this world and why all the clones are of the same person. At the underground base, Zhongli noticed that the source of all the clones was the same person, a man. Meaning all the robots in the forging machinery world were male. The Machine King sighed. That's why I said I'm envious of your 9 continents world. You have powerful individual strengths and long lifespans. I have also heard that in your world there are those in the Mahayana realm who can live for 100,000 years. Zhongli pointed at himself. What a coincidence, I'm in the Mahayana realm. The notion that those in the Mahayana realm could live for 100,000 years was spread by Immortal Watch Longevity. He claimed that individuals of the Mahayana and Earth Immortal realms could live for 100,000 years. Facing the genuine article, the Machine King no longer felt any jealousy. All he had left was a bitter smile. 100,000 our history is not even 100,000 years long. In the beginning, we only replaced some organs with mechanical ones without planning to enter an era of global mechanization. Some advocated becoming robots, but more opposed the idea. After becoming a robot, one loses the 5 senses. Who would want to live such life? But there was one event that forced us to comply. What happened? Bai Hongtu moved closer. The Machine King spoke solemnly. According to historical records, 12,000 years ago, we lost our fertility. The event was both sudden and odd. Even now, we can't figure out the cause. Women lost their fertility and all seeds in storage were wiped out in a single night, as if someone had manipulated it all. The process of losing fertility lasted about 1 month. During this period, the ancients tried everything they could, but they found no solution. At this point, those who proposed the idea of the global mechanization era stood up, calling it a divine opportunity, decreeing that the heavens had predetermined that all of humanity should become robots. The ancients had no other choice, and it took them nearly a generation to complete the transition from human to robot. They preserved human bodies, or rather, corpses, to serve as clone samples. But then there was another problem. Some kind of disease spread among all humans, causing the body to collapse, making it impossible to clone. We could not explain the phenomenon, but we did what we could, naming the disease the cloning illness. In the end, as you saw underground, all that was left of the forging machinery civilization was that one clone sample. The history was too strange and eerie. Generation after generation of leaders chose to conceal the truth, letting people believe that they were born robots. Babies don't have memories until they are 2 years old, so we extract their souls when they are 1 and place them into robot bodies. Perhaps because their bodies are machines but their souls are still human, the public always favors vibrant life forms. For example, the zoo is the most popular place for people to go. And the rise of skin replacement shops is yet another proof of the subconscious belief of the people that they are human. Zhongli frowned. This world was already in a precarious state. If the final clone sample became unclonable as well, all the robots of this entire world would be destroyed. At this moment, the great Confucian word post and the sect master of the Elixir sect, Huang Chengdan, hurried over. The city transforming into a mechanical octopus had caused quite a commotion. One man, one tool had rushed over after hearing the distress call. Human Emperor, by sect master, Huang Chengdan bowed in respect, guessing that the disciples of the sect were in danger and had summoned Emperor Zhongli and by sect master. Conveniently, I have discovered something new in this world that I wanted to discuss with the human emperor. What discovery? I found that the forging machinery world is hiding a virus that causes infertility in females and slow death in non-cultivators, destroying bodies, making them unpreservable. Zhongli repeated to Huang Chengdan what the Machine King had said. I don't understand much about cloning, but from the function of the poison, it could indeed lead to an inability to replicate the body. This is very similar to a kind of poison hypothesized by 5 Poisons Immortal, the founder of our Elixir sect. The poison hides in the air and is very secretive. If one does not have related knowledge, it would be difficult to find any abnormalities, even with divine sense. 5 Poisons Immortal said that if he were to become a heavenly immortal, he could manufacture such poison. Known as the Black Medicine sect in the past, the Elixir sect was a renowned sect that specialized in poisons. As the sect's master, Huang Chengdan had a deep understanding of the nature of poisons. Is there any way to counter this poison? Yes. As long as one cultivates qi into the body, entering the qi cultivation stage, the poison will naturally dissipate. Chapter 535, The Second Full Moon Feast. Breathing in qi, that might be challenging. Our kids in Kyushu begin their training at 8. Are you suggesting we wait until a clone sample live up to 8 years before they start learning the path of immortality? Our biggest clone is only 1 year old. Waiting another 7 years will be okay. We can afford to wait for 7 years. The Machinery King regretted driving away the cultivators from Kyushu due to petty jealousy. It was miraculous that the cultivators from Kyushu found a solution to the problem that had troubled them for 10,000 years in such a short time. 7 years is too long. Master Huang, show me what the poison looks like. All right. A cyclone appeared in Huang Chengdan's hand, expelling foreign substances, and what was left were poisonous granules. So, this is it. Zhang Li scanned it with his divine sense, immediately finding out what the poison hiding in the air looked like. Zhang Li raised his hand, creating a cyclone as well. However, this cyclone became larger and larger, forming a tornado that enveloped the entire city. The force of the wind lifted the whole city several centimeters above the ground, gathering all the air in the world here. Huang Chengdan was shocked. The human emperor's move had surpassed mere human abilities. The inhabitants of the forging machinery world were robots, therefore they didn't need to breathe. Disperse. Zhang Li stated a simple command, like a law being implemented. Actually, he was just stating a fact. The tornado dispersed, and a black pill appeared in Zhang Li's hand. This is the poison that has been tormenting you for 10,000 years. With a slight pinch, Zhang Li crushed and annihilated the poisonous pill, reducing it to nothingness. With a trembling body and tears flowing, the Machinery King knelt down and thanked Zhang Li and the others repeatedly. Master Huang must have discussed with you regarding Kyushu World's foreign policy. If you are willing, you can accompany us to Kyushu. Commander Liu of the Imperial Palace will discuss the specifics with you. The Machinery King appeared puzzled, wondering about the Kyushu World's foreign policy. Huang Chengdan whispered an explanation on the side. Human Emperor, we didn't get a chance to discuss this earlier. The Machinery King started attacking us before the conversation. Huang Chengdan then discussed the current relationships between the Kyushu world and other worlds to the Machinery King, ranging from policy to personnel circulation and even economic and cultural exchanges. As he discussed, Huang Chengdan realized something strange. How come the Kyushu world seemed like the center of the 10,000 realms? The Machinery King didn't understand the implications, but felt that the Kyushu world was extremely powerful. He was also aware that Huang Chengdan and the Great Confucian Word Post had held back. Otherwise, the machinery octopus would have been outmatched by simply a piece of paper. Only when they reached the ultimate strength, they would have the courage and the qualification to maintain such a relationship with other worlds. Are you all really not from the immortal realm? Zhang Li chuckled and said, no way. We're just a common world that loves peace. We have nothing to do with the immortal realm. Don't overthink it. I see, establishing diplomatic relationships with other worlds is a significant matter. Can we think it over? Zhang Li gestured to Bai Hongtu, who took out a disposable summons charm. If you wish to come to Kyushu, after tearing this charm, someone will come to pick you up. Zhang Li summoned the Brahma Tower, sending everyone back, and incidentally telling it about the future task of connecting the 10,000 realms. It isn't suitable to casually mention such a significant task, Human Emperor. The Brahma Tower shuddered with a tremble in its heart. It was only an immortal artifact proficient in spatial laws. Why would it be burdened with the task of teleporting people into the 10,000 realms? Still, the Brahma Tower accepted this task. Sending cultivators to investigate various worlds could help solve potential crises in these worlds and save lives. Being busier meant saving more lives. It was a good deal. After Bai Hongtu and others returned to their territories, Zhang Li wanted to roam around. He stopped by the Imperial Palace and remembered that he had passed by 3 times without visiting. He then decided to go in and take a look. The 2 guards at the gate of the Imperial Palace stood proudly, their majestic demeanor drew attention. The 2 were exchanging news using a transmission array. Brother, isn't it strange, being guards of the Imperial Palace, yet we've never seen the Hall Master? I know, right? My wife asked me about whether being in the Imperial Palace meant I meet the Human Emperor daily. What did you say? I said that was what I thought when I first arrived at the Imperial Palace. I'm considering retiring and becoming a gatekeeper at the Dao sect. I heard that the Dao sect's comrades said that the Hall Master visits the Dao sect more frequently than here. You've only been on the job for 3 years, isn't it a little early to think about retirement? That's called long-term planning. When I was at the Qi cultivation stage, I planned how to cultivate to the divinity transformation stage. Look, I was successful, wasn't I? This morning, I was even considering where I'd like to be buried after death. I heard that the location underneath the cliff of the Great Wei dynasty has excellent feng shui. Many cultivators get buried there. I think it's a good choice. As they casually chatted, Zhang Li landed at the entrance and casually said, Good work, both of you. Hall Master. Both of them saw Zhang Li, their eyes gleamed, and they stopped considering retirement and burial locations. From the outside, the Imperial Palace looked the same as always. However, as he walked towards the main hall, the Imperial Palace gradually changed, with lights and festive decorations everywhere. It was brimming with jubilation. It almost seemed like Zhang Li was getting married. Hall Master, good timing. I was just thinking of contacting you. Commander Lu didn't expect that Zhang Li would return so soon after leaving the Imperial Palace. Commander Lu considered this as an omen of Zhang Li wanting to preside over the Imperial Palace. Is there some good news? Zhang Li still wasn't clear about what happened. Commander Ma's child was born, a boy, named Ma Zhongjang as you suggested. Commanders Ma are planning a celebration for their child's first full month. I suggested holding it in the side hall of the Imperial Palace. All the commanders can gather and celebrate. I was about to inform you when you appeared. Zhang Li entered the side hall of the Imperial Palace, saw Commanders Ma with a baby in their arms, who was crying bitterly, and no matter how Commander Ma tried to soothe him, it didn't help. Here, let me hold him. Zhang Li gently took the baby. A surprising thing happened, the baby cried even harder. Zhang Li handed the baby back and stated seriously, I believe this child has great potential to cultivate the sonic art in the future. I will write a sonic cultivation technique book and give it to him later. Hall Master, from the way you're holding the baby, anyone would cry. Commander Ma teased. Zhang Li stared in return. Haha, look at what I've found. Today, I'll show off my culinary skills. Zhang Konghu arrived with bursts of laughter, dragging in a net full of animals. The net was filled with various rare wild animals such as wild boars, scaled fish, mountain chicken etc. All of which, void of spiritual intelligence, were considered exquisite delicacies and were coveted by spirit chefs. The wild animals were still alive and struggling. Zhang Konghu tapped the heads of the wild animals, all of you keep quiet, we're only going to eat you. There's no need for such a fuss. The animals couldn't understand Zhang Konghu's words and struggled even more. Nephew, why are you crying? Look, Uncle Zhang has brought some great things. Zhang Konghu took out a sugar-coated hawthorn skewer from his storage ring. The little baby stopped crying immediately after being given a skewer of the sugar-coated hawthorn. Zhang Li, Chapter 536, Look at this pitiful child. Hall Master, you're early. Zhang Konghu thought it was Commander Lu who had gotten Zhang Li to come over. He gave the baby one of the sugar-coated haws from the skewer and ate the rest himself. You guys chat, I'm making food. Zhang Konghu piled up the ingredients on the ground, then took pots and pans out of his storage ring. Zhang Konghu has been wandering outside for years, and was quite skilled in cooking. At the Imperial Palace, everyone was at least of the divinity transformation stage, there was no such thing as a kitchen. If Zhang Konghu wanted to cook, he could only find a temporary spot. He started messing around in the corner of the side hall. The main ingredient, a mountain-moving chicken, was still resisting Zhang Konghu and the ingredients were in a tussle. The mountain-moving chicken, as its name implied, was strong enough to move mountains, and was not approached by most cultivators. In addition to the mountain-moving chicken, there was also a bull with wings. Zhang Li looked up at the yellow bull flying around overhead, not knowing what to say. Zhang Konghu displayed his divine skills, and with the strength of the body integration realm, suppressed the ingredients while kneading them vigorously. The flying bull tried to charge out of the side hall, but ran into Commander Huang who was walking in. The flying bull was stunned, and Zhang Konghu dragged it away, and it never woke up again. Commander Huang's face turned ghostly pale, his legs were shaking, his condition was very poor. What happened to you? Zhang Li quickly lent Commander Huang a supporting hand. Commander Huang grimaced a smile. I was accidentally poisoned on the way. It was a mild poison, which could be removed by operating the cultivation technique, but there was a mishap with the operation of the technique, and my stomach has been hurting. I've been to the toilet 15 times today. Zhang Li quickly asked Commander Lu to support Commander Huang. I have said it before, if you ate one of my leaves, you would be fine. Why didn't you eat it? Commander Lu plucked a hair from his head, turned it into a verdant willow leaf. Commander Huang firmly shook his head. Sorry for being late, got held up on the road. Commander Mu also arrived, but he wasn't alone. Behind him followed a female cultivator with brown skin and a shy face. Clan leader of the Jiyu tribe, Aisu. Commander Lu privately told Commander Mu to do the opposite of the techniques Zhang Li taught him to court girls, and he would succeed. It seemed that it did work. With a blushing face, Ieyasu greeted everyone, and Commander Mu announced that they would get married on a chosen day. Zhongli thought his teachings had been fruitful, and smilingly nodded, saying he would definitely attend. What he taught was still useful. Commander Mu succeeded in just 10 years. Eat my fist, Zhang Konggu shouted loudly, putting all his strength into pounding the meat. His fists moved so fast they created afterimages. Could you be quieter? Commander Huang grumbled while clutching his stomach. He was in the process of operating his cultivation technique, and just when he was about to recover, he was suddenly startled by Zhang Konggu, causing his cultivation technique to revert to its original state. You don't get it. Pounding the meat makes it incredibly chewy. Once you eat my meatballs, you'll never want to eat ones made by anyone else, Zhang Konggu declared with confidence, his punches breaking the air. In that case, I'd rather not eat them, Commander Huang shook his head. Zhang Konggu pulled out another cleaver and started chopping a chicken for white-cut chicken. The rhythmic, ka-ka-ka, sound had the baby bobbing his head. The baby was having a hard time gnawing on the sugar-coated ha, the exterior was slippery so it was hard to bite into, he could only try to eat it in one bite. But the baby's small mouth wasn't able to accommodate it, so he continued to wrestle with the ha. Upon hearing Zhang Konggu chopping the vegetables, he finally gave up his feud with the ha. This child is so cute. Little Wood, should we have one too? Ieyasu played with the baby, her laughter brighter than the baby's. Commander Mu coughed, whispering, let's talk about this when we get home. Ieyasu also realized that it wasn't appropriate to say such things in front of a big crowd, so she shyly lowered her head. Well, let's wait until we get home. Have you tested his spiritual root? What kind of spiritual root is it? Asked Zhongli, joining in to play with the baby when he saw that it had stopped crying. Metal spiritual root. He's got good aptitude. Once the baby starts to practice, I'll tailor a cultivation technique for him. We can't thank you enough, Hall Master, Commander Ma Zhou quickly expressed his gratitude. At this time, Zhang Konggu came over. I'm going to make claypot rice. Commander Ma Zhou quickly shielded his child in fear, you can't have my child. Zhang Konggu didn't quite understand the reactions of his two colleagues. I just wanted to borrow a fire from Brother Zhang. The better the quality of the fire, the better the claypot rice. Zhang Li got interested and went over to help. He produced a ball of South Mingli fire in his palm, and used it to cook the claypot rice. Brother Zhang, why do I remember you not being very good at cooking? Zhang Konggu scratched his head. Faced with Zhang Konggu's doubt, Zhang Li was not happy. I can't make complex dishes, but the key to claypot rice is controlling the flame. That's not a challenge for me. After a while, Zhang Li withdrew the fire and opened the lid, only to find that under the scorching South Mingli fire, the rice and the pot had fused together, inseparable. You either don't eat it or you eat the pot with the rice. Seeing this, Commander Mu, while hugging Ieyasu, analyzed, the Hall Master's actions have profound implications. The South Mingli fire is a test. Under the test of fire, the rice and pot overcome difficulties and merge into one. This is the Hall Master's blessing to us. Ieyasu lightly hit Commander Mu's chest, playfully saying that he was annoying. Zhang Li emotionlessly pushed the claypot rice towards Commander Mu, then you should eat the blessings. Commander Mu was suddenly silent. Eventually, Zhang Konggu made another pot of claypot rice. As Zhang Konggu cooked, a golden light emerged and miraculous scenes appeared in the sky. Dragon and tiger apparitions were fighting fiercely in the sky. After determining the winner, the dragon and tiger apparitions returned to the dish. What on earth is that? Commander Ma was puzzled for a long time, unable to figure out the principle behind it. Zhang Li explained from the side, Konggu has modified the golden light curse to create the omni-golden light curse. When he is cooking, miraculous phenomena will randomly occur in the sky. What's the use of that? What do you think is the most important thing when two masters fight? What? It's momentum. After chit-chatting for a while, Zhang Konggu finished cooking and called everyone over to eat. Commander Mu gently picked up the beef tendon ball that Zhang Konggu had bragged about for a long time, bit down hard, and the beef tendon ball bounced away. Quote, did it really have to be that springy? It must be said that Zhang Konggu was extremely talented in cooking. Everyone stared at the table full of delicious dishes, mouths watering. The baby was no exception. The baby watched everyone eating with envious eyes while he sadly sucked on his pacifier. Look at how pitiful this child looks. Zhang Konggu couldn't stand it anymore, took a pair of chopsticks and picked up a stir-fried pork piece, waved it in front of the child, then ate it himself. This child is sitting so far away, he can't even see what the food looks like. Here, have a closer look. Every time Jong Konggu ate, he would wave the food in front of the baby. The tantalizing aroma made the baby's mouth water, he couldn't help but suck harder on his pacifier. Commander Huang finally finished sorting out the operation of his cultivation technique, and his stomach no longer hurt. When he lifted his head, he saw that only empty plates were left on the dining table. Jong Konggu slapped his forehead. Oh, I forgot about you. Chapter 537, The Business Opportunity of the GU Clan. No worries, I have stocked up on food, imported from another world. Jong Konggu, a true friend of Commander Huang, said. He pulled out a pack of instant noodles from his storage ring. Imported from the Mingjiang world. Commander Huang. While you all enjoy your feast, isn't it inappropriate for me to eat instant noodles? Jong Konggu, deciphering the message from Commander Huang's expression, pulled out another packet, this one seafood flavored. 2 packs of instant noodles, braised beef, and seafood, a solid feast indeed. Isn't dining about the ambiance? Don't you feel something is missing without me? Commander Huang felt his status as a late-stage fusion practitioner, commanding winds and summoning rains wherever he went, was utterly insignificant in the imperial palace. Jong Konggu thought for a moment and responded uncertainly, a sad atmosphere. Every time Commander Huang enjoyed a meal, he couldn't control his cultivation technique and imbued a sorrowful atmosphere around him. Without Commander Huang, everyone was quite happy eating. Come on, let's fortune tell after the meal. Commander Ma cleared the dishes and started the arrangements. This was the main event. Fortune telling is all about placing various objects for a child to randomly grasp to predict the child's future based on the item selected. Zhang Li asked. I remembered we only do this when the child turns 1, right? Commander Ma turned to ask Commander Zhou, is that right? Commander Zhou was also surprised. I thought we fortune tell when the child is 1 week old. I thought it was too early when the child was just 7 days old, so I extended it to a month. Zhang Li began to worry about the child's future. The couple, even after hundreds of years of research on childbearing, has not studied child rearing. The items are ready, it is inappropriate not to let the child fortune tell, let's just carry on. Commander Ma, undeterred by the minute details, cleared the table and placed all sorts of trinkets. Calligraphy brushes, jade flutes, food, elixirs. The baby glared at Jong Konggu, holding a grudge against his outrageous actions at the dinner table. Jong Konggu, however, believed that his actions at the dinner table expressed his goodwill and he had charmed the baby, and so he growled back at the baby. Once everything was put in place, Commander Ma picked up the baby like a carrot and placed him on the table. The baby, oblivious of the commander's intentions, was unable to walk, and he crawled around the table with a pacifier in his mouth. Commander Zhou was anxious about what the future held for her child. Commander Ma reassured his wife. Don't worry, if he grabs the brush, he will be a Confucian cultivator in the future, if the jade flute, then a music cultivator, if food, then he will be a spirit chef, if an elixir, then a pill cultivator. Commander Zhou was still worried. What if he does not grab anything? Commander Ma thought for a moment and said, that signifies he is a jack of all trades and master of none in cultivation, he will likely become the hall master in the future. Commander Zhou was relieved upon hearing this. However, Commander Ma felt a killing intent from behind him. The baby picked up the calligraphy brush and disdainfully tossed it aside, then he kicked the jade flute and had no intention of picking it up. Food, elixirs, puppets, rice paper, the baby wanted none of them. In the end, his attention was drawn to a book. However, due to his tiny hands and lack of strength, he could only grasp a page, accidentally lifting the entire book. The baby was exceedingly happy with his achievement. Upon seeing the title of the book, Commander Ma's back was instantly soaked with cold sweat. The book his son held was not just any book but an adult novel written by both himself and his wife. Commander Zhou gave a strained smile, pinching her husband's shoulder. She felt it necessary for her husband to provide a good explanation of the situation today. Listen to me, it was an accident, really. I accidentally pulled it out from my storage ring, Commander Zhou insisted earnestly. Heavenly conscience, no matter what, he would not place an adult novel on the table. Fortune-telling was just for laughs, nobody took it seriously. Zhang Li, noticing Commanders Ma and Zhou were having a moment, didn't disturb them. Instead, he found Isu and began discussing the GU clan. Have you thought about a way forward when the GU clan reveals itself? We have. The first issue the emerging GU clan has to resolve is that of wealth. The GU clan has trialed an initiative in this respect with good feedback. What is it? Now that it's summer, mortals can rely on mass-produced cooling runes to no longer worry about the heat. But there is another issue in summer. What is it? Mosquitoes. The mosquitoes in Zhou are not ordinary insects but mosquitoes with the bloodline of fairy insects. Though their cultivation is not high, they can easily dodge the slaps from ordinary people. Some powerful mosquitoes, with fast reflection, are even quicker than Qi cultivators at the 9th level. We Jiyu clan have a specialty in exterminating insects, including mosquitoes. The Jiyu clan has reached an agreement with several city lords of Zhou. We are responsible for driving off all the mosquitoes in the city in exchange for certain fees from the city lords. If the results are good, we will establish a long-term collaboration. The promotion criteria for officials in Zhou are closely related to the well-being of the populace. The first partners the Jiyu clan reached out to were from Zhou. Zhou values laws and contracts, so there's no need to worry about Zhou going back on their word. But in major and minor witch countries near the Jiyu clan, there is a real concern they might not be able to fully pay with spirit stones. Once our reputation is solidified in Zhou, more cities will reach out to us in the future. Zhang Li nodded, thinking the Jiyu clan had indeed found a viable method. It was a project with high potential, and he couldn't think of anyone able to compete with the Jiyu clan. If the project is rolled out across Zhou, the spirit stones earned would be enough to substantially upgrade the entire Jiyu clan. How did you come up with this method? Wood Commander said softly, Master, you haven't heard the rumors about the beast-taming sect, have you? What's with the beast-taming sect? They are planning to reverse the beast-taming technique into human-taming technique. Zhang Li's first reaction was this. What's the human-taming technique? Wood Commander was confused. Nothing, you continue. Wood Commander continued. In recent years, the beast-taming sect has been dedicated to enhancing the strength of magical beasts. Rumors suggest that the beast-taming sect regards mosquitoes as a part of magical beasts and are intending to cultivate mosquitoes that can live all year round, capable of reaching the golden core stage and the nascent soul stage. It's well known that the goal of the beast-taming sect changes with each sect master rotation. From what Zhang Li knew, historically, the beast-taming sect had set goals such as making magical beasts the best friends of humans, ensuring harmonious coexistence between magical beasts and humans, increasing the diversity of magical beasts, and establishing a magical beast protection association. Some of these goals were achieved, while others weren't. The current goal of the beast-taming sect is to enhance the overall strength of magical beasts. The rumor is unconfirmed, but the price of mosquito repellents in the market is soaring. We, the two of us, came up with the direction for our Jiyu clan after hearing about it. Zhang Li felt that the various major sects in Zhou really couldn't be idle for a day. How idle must the beast-taming sect be to even consider mosquitoes as part of magical beasts? Do mosquitoes agree with this? Chapter 538. Since we're all here. Zhang Li felt it necessary to take a tour of the taming beast sect. If the news was false, that would be best. If true, he would render it false. Before he left, Zhang Li called over a few of his commanders, discussing the matter of obtaining the coordinates of the worlds across the 10,000 realms from the underworld. Announcing the coordinates of the 10,000 realms to Jojo is a significant task. If I am the only one to deliver the news, it may not be convincing enough. I suggest holding a ceremony where you, Hall Master, announce it personally. Commander Lu expressed his belief that their announcement would not have the desired impact if it came just from them. Commander Lu had a premonition that this matter would become a major event in future history books. Then, I leave this task to you, Commander Lu. Zhang Li thanked him. After Zhang Li left, Zhang Konggu scratched his head and asked, when did Brother Zhang go to the underworld? No idea, I've never heard about it. Seems like it makes no difference whether the Hall Master is here or not. Seeing their noisy discussion, Commander Lu had to explain, the Hall Master dies quickly, but resurrects just as quickly. There was no time to inform you. Commander Lu had prepared for Zhang Li to stay in the underworld for a few years. Who would have guessed that he would wake up in a few days? The Taming Beast sect was located on the outskirts of the Wuyu Empire, adjacent to the territory of the White Marsh Empire. The rulers of Wuyu constantly feared waking to find that the Taming Beast sect had annexed part of their territory, pledging allegiance to the White Marsh Empire. The relationship between the Taming Beast sect and the White Marsh Empire was just too good. The relationships between the disciples of the Taming Beast sect and their monster beasts could be anything from friends, siblings, husbands and wives, to harems. The Taming Beast sect was home to several human body integration realm cultivators and monster beasts at the body integration realm. In terms of overall power, they ranked first among the top sects of the Wuyu Empire. If the Wuyu Empire didn't have the national fortune to touch the boundaries of the Transcendence Tribulation stage, the power of the Taming Beast sect would indeed outdo the Wuyu kingdom itself. Quest release. You obtained the legacy of the real man of Wansho from the cliff under the Great Wei Empire. To obtain the legacy, you swore in front of the grave of the real man of Wansho that you would defeat the Taming Beast sect's beast taming method with his beast taming method. You have assiduously practiced the beast taming method and are unmatched in that aspect now. You have wanted to challenge the elders of the Taming Beast sect, but you have not been able to find an opportunity. The Taming Beast sect is recruiting disciples now. Please participate in the entrance examination to alert the higher-ups. This quest can be abandoned. Quest reward. A copy of the Taming Beast Immortal Classic, 1 beast controlling imprint, a bottle of green wood spirit refining liquid. Assiduously practice the beast taming method. Zhang Li looked strange. It shouldn't have anything to do with the White Marsh Emperor, right? Ever since he met the idle folk, Zhang Li felt that the tasks issued by the guild were associated with matchmaking. Since I am already here, it wouldn't hurt to take on a side quest. The Taming Beast sect recruits once every 10 years. The guild's task release naturally coincided with the sect's recruitment 500 years later. Zhang Li ran into unexpected people here. The 7 killers, Rain Little Meng, and Li Zhaozhao. Rain Little Meng was the little princess of the mermaid tribe, with a voluptuous body, and had confirmed a Taoist relationship with the 7 killers. Li Zhaozhao was the little princess of the South Zhao Dragon tribe, with a slender physique. She had confirmed a Taoist relationship with the 7 killers unilaterally. The 7 killers, caught helplessly in the middle, saw Zhang Li as their savior and hastily broke free to run over to him. Human Emperor. The 3 of them saluted together. Li Zhaozhao and Rain Little Meng were at the peak of the Golden Core stage, and the 7 killers were at the peak of the Nascent Soul stage, ready to break through to the Divinity Transformation stage at any time. What brings the 3 of you here? Rain Little Meng was the granddaughter of the old Human Emperor and had been given notable attention by Zhang Li. The 7 killers said awkwardly, the Taming Beast sect has its understanding of monster beasts. Little Meng and Zhao Zhao wished to join the sect to purify their bloodlines. I came to accompany them. The Taming Beast sect also welcomed monster beasts to join their ranks. As the sole disciple of the Sword Monarch, aren't you afraid he'd be enraged if you really managed to pass the entrance exam? Zhang Li thought the 7 killers was truly brave. No, I don't understand the beast taming method at all. I won't succeed. The 7 killers had not considered the possibility of success at all. Recruitment of disciples at the Taming Beast sect was not divided by age, but by cultivation stage, with the 3 levels being Qi cultivation stage, Foundation establishment stage, and Golden Core stage. If a Golden Core stage disciple was admitted, and their background checked out, they would skip the period of servitude and the status of outer sect disciple. After a probationary period to confirm their state of mind, they would be directly promoted to the position of inner sect disciple. Li Zhaozhao and Rain Little Meng applied for the Golden Core stage, and the 7 killers who suppressed his cultivation to the Golden Core stage, also applied for the same. Zhang Li thought that the 7 killers' cultivation concealment was not secret enough, so he helped out. Song Li, Golden Core stage, participating in the Taming Beast sect's disciple examination. The 7 killers looked at Zhang Li in surprise. The Human Emperor must have deep intentions. The 7 killers began to speculate on Zhang Li's motives, and the more he thought about it, the more unfathomable Zhang Li seemed. Who didn't know that Zhang, the Human Emperor's beast-taming method, transcended the past, present, and future, and was unparalleled? Even the immortals in the immortal realm were far behind Zhang, the Human Emperor. Zhang, the Human Emperor, roamed in the void, treating the various worlds as beasts. How the world operated and how humanity operated were all within Zhang, the Human Emperor's thoughts. The immortals of the immortal realm could, at most, regard the starry sky giant beasts and immortal beasts as their taming targets. However, Zhang, the Human Emperor's beast-taming method, had transcended the general sense of taming beasts. It was a transcendence and detachment. This fact was clearly written in the story of Zhang, the Human Emperor. Maybe Zhang, the Human Emperor wanted to return to basics, and started practicing the beast-taming method from the beginning. The 7 killers ventured a guess. The Taming Beast sect was a first-class force on par with the Sky Mechanism Tower. After establishing a relationship with Lingxi World, under Zhao Qing's rule, it had reached a new peak. Therefore, there were numerous Golden Core stage cultivators participating in the Taming Beast sect disciple selection. The presence of Zhang Li and the other 3 didn't draw much attention. To show importance to the Golden Core stage, the Taming Beast sect's vice sect master was presiding over the selection. The vice sect master of the Taming Beast sect was named Bipolar, a body integration realm monster beast of the two-colored spirit cat variety. Zhongli had met her a few times. The most noticeable features of Bipolar were her two cat ears on top of her head and her eerie red and blue eyes. She was also the wife of the sect master of the Taming Beast sect. With a graceful demeanor, Bipolar stepped cat-like towards the crowd. Once she was standing in place, she calmly said, "Welcome everyone for choosing the Taming Beast sect. I am Bipolar, the vice sect master. This examination will have 3 tests. All are related to beast taming. Only those who pass all tests can become disciples of the Taming Beast sect. I hope everyone takes it seriously. Now let's begin the first test, beast taming Q&A. We will use a buzzer system, and you will only progress to the next test if you answer any question correctly. Listen to the question. What is now considered the standard for measuring strength among the dragon tribes of the 4 seas? Bloodline. Wrong. Next. Progress in practicing the human emperor strength of Zhongli. Correct answer. Second question. The human tribe has the divine skill, flying dragon in the sky. Correspondingly, what is the divine skill that the dragon tribe can use after small achievements in practicing human emperor strength of Zhongli? The 7 killers grab the buzzer to answer, human emperor in the sky. Correct answer. Zhongli grinned, realizing that this first test might be a bit challenging. Chapter 539, Beast Quiz. Question 3. Zhong, the human emperor, is unparalleled in his beast taming skills, far beyond antiquity, treating the world as his beast. This legend originates from which version of the biography of the human emperor? The author of this edition of the biography of the human emperor is recorded as Bai, which is a nominal, and their actual name is unknown. Zhongli looked at him, puzzled. He'd asked 3 questions, all relevant to him. Was this a beast taming Q&A or a Zhongli Q&A? Most importantly, he didn't know the answer to any of them. He quietly asked the monk who had answered the first question correctly, what is emperor amongst men refers to? I've never heard of this divine ability. The monk, who qualified for the second round, leisurely answered Zhongli's question. Brother, you know too little about the human emperor. Everyone knows that emperor amongst men is the unique divine skill contained within the discourse of Zhongli, the human emperor. Discourse of Zhongli, the human emperor, consists of 3 stages. Accordingly, emperor amongst men also has 3 stages, initial, intermediate, and advanced. When you execute the initial stage of emperor amongst men, you will faintly hear the voice of the human emperor. In the intermediate stage, not only would the voice of the human emperor appear, but also his spectral image would be summoned, though blurred. However, the most formidable is the advanced stage. The voice of the human emperor will resound, a clear spectral image of the human emperor will be summoned, and even the arrival of heavenly immortals can't resist this blow, hence it is acclaimed as an invincible divine skill. But, up till now, even the dragon clan could only cultivate emperor amongst men, up to the initial stage. Zhongli nodded. Now he was able to associate this with the content of the discourse of Zhongli, the human emperor. He had also annotated the discourse of Zhongli, the human emperor, for the South Sea Dragon King. Thus, he knew what kind of divine skills would result from this cultivation technique. He just didn't know what these divine skills were called. Zhongli then continued answering the questions with his full concentration. Bipolar asked unhurriedly. Question 6. After a demon beast transforms into a human form, what is the first thing it should do? Get accustomed to its new body. Incorrect. Put on clothes. Correct. Question 7. Baizi's bloodline makes him nearly omniscient, but there are 3 things even Baizi doesn't know. Name them. The nesting places of the heavenly demons from beyond the realm, the cultivation method of the Mahayana realm, and the strength of the human emperor. Correct. Question 8. If you encounter a cockroach, how should you treat it? Take good care of it, help it find its family, and unite them. The respondent thought, since they were in the beast control sect, they should protect beasts and insects. Incorrect. Just kill it directly. Incorrect. Help it find its family, kill them all, reuniting them in death. Correct. Question 9. Many demon beasts mate with each other, leading to many unnamed demon beasts in the 10,000 realms. If you encounter an unknown demon beast, how should you name it? Name it after yourself. Bipolar glanced at the respondent and asked, what's your name? The respondent thought he was being acknowledged by the beast control sect's higher-ups and excitedly replied, my name is Huangjia. If you discover an unknown demon beast, it will be called Huangjia Beast, And, in the future, everyone will be pointing at this beast saying, "Look, this is the Huangjia beast." Quote, name it according to the traits of the demon beast in ancient books. Correct. Zhang Li felt that there was a high probability he wouldn't even pass the first round. Question 10. If 10 mythical sun ravens appear in the sky of Kyushu, burning the earth, causing disturbances in spiritual energy, withering trees, and drying rivers, and you just so happen to have 10 arrows and a bow in your hand, what should you do? Shoot all 10 sun ravens down. Incorrect. Shoot down 9 sun ravens and leave 1. Someone remembered the legend of the great archer Yi shooting the suns. Incorrect. The sun raven is a divine beast. We can't defeat it, we must wait for the human emperor to make a move. Correct. Question 11. In the classic of mountains and seas, there is a recorded demon beast named Zulong. It is said that when Zulong opens its eyes, it is daytime, and when it closes its eyes, it is nighttime. What is the principle behind this? It's Zulong's innate divine ability. Incorrect. Zulong controls the two forces, light and darkness. Incorrect. Zhang Li laughed and said, Zulong doesn't blink during the day and closes its eyes to sleep at night. Correct. I was just joking. Zhang Li didn't expect that he would actually pass. The demon beast Q&A was still ongoing, and Zhang Li realized just how deficient his knowledge about demon beasts truly was. Daozi, Rain Little Meng, and Li Jiaojiao passed before Zhang Li. Why did the human emperor only pass on the 11th question? I thought the questions were easy. Rain Little Meng and Li Jiaojiao didn't understand. Daozi explained, you don't understand. You see, although Zhang the human emperor didn't answer the questions before, he always maintained a calm demeanor. What does this show? That he had a plan. Even if bipolar, the deputy sect master, proposes the last question, Zhang, the human emperor, will also be the last one to pass. Zhang, the human emperor, didn't answer the questions not because he didn't want to stand out. Look at how much hostility everyone harbors towards the first person who answered the question. Zhang, the human emperor, is low-key. He foresaw this situation. I was the second to pass, and everyone also showed a hostile attitude towards me. I should learn from Zhang, the human emperor in this respect. The person who answered the first question and passed was almost speechless when he heard Daozi's words. Brother, everyone's hostility towards me indeed comes from me being the first one to pass, but their hostility towards you comes solely from the two demon race beauties by your side. Daozi was unaware of this and continued to explain to his two companions, there's nothing in the world that the human emperor doesn't know. Li Jiaojiao was confused, but I heard that the most learned person in the world is immortal Chong Kun from Dao Sect's Sealing Self Cave. Rain Little Meng clenched her teeth in irritation. A girl asking a guy a question would make the guy feel satisfied and accomplished, but Li Jiaojiao beat her to it. You don't know this. Immortal Chong Kun is the oldest person in Kyushu and is undoubtedly knowledgeable, but he is still slightly inferior to Zhang, the human emperor. You should know Zhang, the human emperor, often goes to Sealing Self Cave to visit immortal Chong Kun, right? Yes. Actually, immortal Chong Kun doesn't understand too many things. Zhang, the human emperor, goes there to lecture him. I see. The two women finally understood. They felt good being alongside Daozi. They were learning new things every day. After a series of tense and exciting demon beast Q&As, Bipolar selected the cultivators who passed the first round. Congratulations to all on passing the first round of the examination. The relationship between humans and demon beasts is an eternal topic for beast tamers. If you want to tame a demon beast, the first step is to get the beast to feel close to you. Only if a beast feels close to you is there a future possibility of signing a contract with it and fighting side by side. Now, we'll begin the second round, getting close to the demon beasts. Later, I will take all of you to the incubation peak of the beast control sect. The degree of intimacy between you and the newborn demon beasts will determine whether you qualify for the third round. Chapter 540, Zhang Li in the Eyes of the Baby Monster. Bipolar led everyone to the beast controlling sect, and on their way, everyone was looking left and right, observing the sect. After all, there was a possibility they would stay here in the future, so getting familiar with the place in advance would be good. They listened in on the conversation of some beast-controlling sect disciples. Look, that's Sister Red Fox, she was an exchange student from our sect. After studying abroad for 3 years, she has finally returned. I wonder what she has learned in the Union sect. And there's Sister Jade Rabbit, I heard she has now qualified to become the personal guard of the White Marsh Emperor. What? Sister Jade Rabbit is that strong now? She just qualifies. Sister Jade Rabbit still needs profound cultivation. The requirements to become the White Marsh Emperor's personal guard are strict. With Sister Jade Rabbit's current level of cultivation, the chances of her passing are slim. It's Sister White Wolf. I heard she went on a journey to ponder how to break through the nascent soul stage, and now, she's already become a mother. It feels like you've skipped over quite a bit of what happened. Everyone walked past the two beast-controlling sect disciples, and in a short amount of time, a huge amount of information could be gleaned from their conversation. Inside the beast-controlling sect, the relationship between humans and monsters was harmonious. Here, they could see anthropomorphic monsters warmly chatting with humans and monsters forming contracts, Lear wandering around, humans and monsters fighting together. Did they just see someone strange? Zhang Li pondered. This is Incubation Peak. Bipolar led everyone to the destination. Incubation Peak was a place where all disciples from beast-controlling sect loved to be, as it was filled with adorable little monsters, fluffy, soft ones curled up into balls, irresistibly cute. Particularly the female disciples, they happily chose to attend the beast-controlling sect to care for the little monsters. Bipolar was the person in charge of the Incubation Peak. It was here where she and the sect master met, and where their daughter was born. You all have half a day to roam freely around the Incubation Peak. After that time, gather here with your monster cubs. Based on the circumstances, I'll decide who has passed this test. What she meant was that they weren't allowed to forcefully bring over monster cubs. So, it depends on whether the monster cub likes you or not. Zhang Li pondered. He had never been in contact with monster cubs before and didn't know if monster cubs would be affectionate to him. If he really had to mention what cubs he'd been in contact with before, it'd probably be chicken eggs. Come here, come to sister. The shark tribe's little princess Yu Xiaomeng squatted down, clapping her hands with a charming smile on her face, easily capturing the hearts of the little monster cubs. The monster cubs felt that both Yu Xiaomeng and they were monsters and also felt the kindness she emitted. They thought of her as a trustworthy person. A group of little monsters wiggled their bottoms and swayed left and right as they ran to Yu Xiaomeng, rubbing against her, making her laugh out ticklishly. Zhang Li stroked his chin. I treat people kindly, monster cubs should be able to sense the kindness from me, it shouldn't be difficult. Zhang Li released his divine sense, enveloping Incubation Peak, soon finding a monster, a little pig, its intellect equivalent to a 3-year-old's. Zhang Li squatted down like Yu Xiaomeng, clapping his hands to beckon the little monster over. The little pig glanced at Zhang Li, and as if seeing a flood beast or ghoul, it turned to run away as fast as its legs could carry it. Zhang Li tried a few more times with other cubs, but the results were similar. The monster cubs didn't seem to be attached to him and ran away upon seeing him. Do I look that scary? Zhang Li grinned, scaring away even more monster cubs. Could it be that my aura is too strong, frightening the little ones? He pondered, unable to understand. You can attract magical creatures by preparing meals, using the tastes to draw them in, 7-Kill Taoist said. He often savored the dishes Yu Xiaomeng and Li Jiaojiao prepared, knowing just how precious a well-cooked meal could be. Yu Xiaomeng and Li Jiaojiao eagerly volunteered, which scared 7-Kill Taoist enough to quickly agree to do the task himself. 7-Kill Taoist's cooking skills were merely above average, but his very presence seemed to attract magical beings. Combined with his tolerably good dishes, and the skyward golden glow, he managed to quickly attract some young magical creatures. 7-Kill Taoist served the food onto plates and placed them on the ground. The magical creature cubs were thoroughly enjoying their meal with satisfied grunts and munches. After the creatures finished eating, 7-Kill Taoist removed the plates. Still, they remained close to 7-Kill Taoist, showing no intention of leaving. Young magical creatures are still immature and act according to their instincts. The fragrant scent originating from cooking is an irresistible temptation for them. I'm not good with complicated dishes. Easy to make a mess. How about we switch to barbecue? It's simple and easy to master. Seeing Zhang Li chop the meat into chunks, skewer them, and roast them fiercely over the fire, the magical creature cubs started shaking in fear, imagining themselves being treated the same way by Zhang Li. This human is so terrifying. Zhang Li predictably failed, left in low spirits and started munching on grilled skewers himself. These skewers actually taste pretty good, he muttered. Magical creatures adhere to bloodlines. Despite not being a dragon, my blood does carry certain dragon-like properties. The magical creature cubs should like it, Li Jiaojiao, the little princess of the South Jiao Dragon tribe, explained. She used her spiritual treasure to cut her finger and squeezed out a few drops of blood. The scent of mixed dragon blood was overpowering. While humans didn't seem to understand this, for the immature magical creature cubs with their instincts in overdrive, this was a fatal temptation. Soon, a group of small magical creatures ran over, joyfully dancing and cheering around Li Jiaojiao. She lovingly stroked the heads of the magical creatures. It felt quite good. Magical creatures value strong bloodlines. As I'm at the Mahayana realm, my blood embodies infinite power. Even those at the Transcendence Tribulation stage cannot endure a single drop of my blood. My blood should be able to attract magical creatures. Zhang Li attempted to find another solution. Zhang Li tried to sever his finger with the spiritual treasure, but found his body too resilient for even the spiritual treasure. He then bit his finger and dropped a few droplets of blood. A pig cub, twisting its backside leisurely, happened to see this develop. It was terrified by the drop of Zhang Li's blood, which seemed to unleash a supernatural burst of power, altering the colors of the world, and bringing utter devastation. It quickly ran away in fear. Apparently, magical creature cubs and human cubs could see what ordinary beings could not. Zhang Li sighed. Half a day quickly passed and Bipolar was early to stand at the top of the peak to inspect the results. Deputy Sect Master Bipolar, look at all these magical creatures I've gathered, someone said boastfully. Behind him trailed many magical creature cubs, drawing a lot of attention. I've already seen you using intimidation to force these creatures to follow you. You don't have a kind heart considering magical creatures. You're disqualified, Bipolar said. Please take a look at these few magical creatures I have, another person said. Do you really think that using the puppet technique to control magical creatures would escape my notice? You're disqualified. Please look, these are skyward frog cubs. Skyward frogs are known for their loud calls. Once they mature, they can take on humanoid form. Bipolar saw him holding a basin of water, and the basin was full of tadpoles. Disqualified.